All right, this is King Butcher. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. We're gonna have a chill show, whatever that fuck means. I don't know how we're gonna do this. Whether we're gonna have a panel. I don't want an open lines, to be honest. I don't want to deal with that shit right now. But I do want to hear different voices, so we might go old school BDA style, where we have a panel and then we let some people in and we rotate. We'll take some phone calls later on, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, unless you guys want an open lines, but that's just gonna be too chaotic. See, we're even gonna leave the music playing here. Just gonna lower the volume a little bit. There we go. Chill show. If you're a soccer or football fan, you're gonna enjoy what happened today because Real Madrid got destroyed. Shout out to everybody in the chat. The Viral Chronicles, Sergeant Boots, Darhado, Buddy Love. Who else we heard? The Quacks, Mars Boxeo, Super Sardonic, Josaman. Welcome. Yeah, the Quack says open lines is a mess. It is a fucking mess. I don't want that shit right now. I don't want to talk about, Beterbiev and other shit. Let's just go through the news here. Okay, wait. I'm going to call BDA and then we'll decide how we'll proceed with this. I'm not sure if he's going to jump right away. I think he's busy. Wait, I think the music's too loud. There we go. All right, I'm going to call BDA. All right. What I'm doing here. Yeah, we'll let some people in. Not a lot of people. All right, let's see. Guys in the chat, do you have any news? I have some news. They're not really big news, but something we can talk about. We have... Devin Haney's called. Oh no, let's start with this though. What I'm noticing regarding Boots Ennis, there's this Boots Ennis mania, Boots mania, as I call it, and it's taking over the YouTube boxing community. All these people that think that Boots Ennis is the next superstar. I'm not against him becoming a superstar. Like, listen, he comes to fight. He's not a back foot bitch. But the stars. I think some people are exaggerating about how good he is. And so I think we need to calm down. I don't know what you guys think about this Boots mania. Jacques Cousteau says, Haney sucks, big news. Yeah, that's big news. Fight at 147 now. I think he's talking about Haney. Haney will be moving up. His father said that he wants the Ryan Garcia rematch to take place at 147 because they know that Ryan Garcia can't make 140 and they don't want any excuses. So, they're very confident they're going to beat Ryan Garcia. But yeah, I agree. That fight should take place at 147. Both guys are welterweights. I've always said it. BA, you can jump in if you want, so we can discuss how we're going to proceed with this show. There's really no fucking plan here, to be honest. I'm going to read some comments from the chat. Let's get the chat involved here. We rarely do this because, it's always too chaotic over here. We don't have time to read the comments in the chat. Mark Spence says, Floyd Schofield, dad says, oh yeah, they want $2.5 million to fight Abdullah Mason. Yeah, what's that about? Oh yeah, we want to fight him, but it has to be $2.5 million. So if they don't get the $2.5 million, they don't get the fight? This is the problem with these boxers. They don't understand the market. They don't understand, listen, $2.5 million might be too much. The Hands History Vault says, King Bucho, it's because the LDBC finally has a black fighter they can get behind again. Yes, we talked about this off the air. I should really record more of these off the air shows and post them. It's true. Let's go through the list here about who the LDBC used to support. They used to support Deontay Wilder. He's gone. Errol Spence Jr. He's gone. Tank Davis. He's still around, but he fights every 6 months. And he doesn't really fight the best of opposition. That's pretty much it. Terence Crawford, I don't know. They don't like Terence Crawford for some reason. So Boots Ennis is, he's an exciting boxer. So they should root behind him. Let's root behind him. They should support him, I should say. But again, I think that they're exaggerating a little bit. He beat Stanionis. That's it. I mean, who's next? Barrios, Brian Norman Jr. Those guys have belts, but they're really not that impressive. And some people already want to place Boots Ennis as a pound for pounder. Can you believe that, guys? That's completely ridiculous. There's other fighters that have accomplished much more, and nobody talks about them being a top 10 pound for pounder. It's because they're American. That's pretty much it. There's a bias. Rafael says, Ralph Unreal. What am I saying? Oh, I don't know. There's a discussion in the chat. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to Boots Ennis. This guy, he's good, but let's come down a little bit over here. Also, Devin Haney saying that he's a villain now. He's a villain, and he enjoys this new persona, the villain. And he starts comparing himself to Floyd Mayweather. Like, he thinks that he's entering this pretty boy Floyd era. So he's going to be getting all the money and everything. Oh, shit. I need to invite... What do you guys think about that? Is Haney like a little bit crazy here, thinking that he's the next Floyd or something? I mean, people hate him for a reason. I can tell you why, but you guys in the chat can tell me why you think Devin Haney is disliked. I have plenty of reasons. Hold on. I'm trying to invite a few people here. Wait, what happened with the music? It's supposed to be a chill show here. We need some music. All right. So anyways, what else do we have? Yeah, I was talking about Devin Haney. He wants to become, he says he's a villain now. He's hated. I'll give you that. Oh, he's not pretty boy Floyd at all. Nobody wants to see him fight. Nobody. I don't see people saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see Haney fight again." I mean, they want to see him get destroyed by Ryan Garcia again, but nobody's really excited about this guy fighting anybody. All right, we have Never Sowers and BDA. If you guys want to jump in, don't be shy. You know what? I'm going to try something crazy. I'm going to post the link in the chat. Old school BDA style. If anybody wants to join the panel, you can do so. But it's not an open lines Friday, so you won't be able to stay there for the whole night. Because I want to rotate. I want rotations. Tarhado says Haney's probably the second most boring fighter behind Stevenson. He's up there. Yeah, I don't think anybody beats Stevenson in terms of lack of excitement. But Haney's definitely up there.
I gotta go soon, but I'll try to jump in later. But play that video of Floyd Schofield Sr. whatever his name is. But put it on the screen. I want to see it at the same time.
All right, hold on.
I'll read a super chat in the meantime.
Yeah.
Shout out to Earl Stevens. Shout out to Earl. Shout out to Earl, who says one of my pet peeves of the YTBC is when they say American boxers or American boxing fans, and they really mean African Americans. Don't lump everybody in. Yeah, I think that's what it is really for a lot of people.
Yeah, I use the term LGBT. I don't use African American.
Yeah, I think the LBC is a whole different group. Although unfortunately, I've yet to see more LBC guys than regular actual boxing fans. They're few and far in between, unfortunately. But in regards to shout out to Earl Stevens. Yeah, shout out for him to making the distinction. But Ennis is a big. He is making waves at least on the East Coast, man. I mean, Atlantic City, they seem to have a good crowd. Philadelphia, when he fought Evan, it was a good crowd. People seem disappointed. His fans were disappointed in the Karen rematch. I think because maybe they got so much info about how he was going to dominate and this and that. Ennis, that is, that when he didn't dominate, instead of saying, man, what a good fight, they were actually disappointed. And that's what it is. But I mean, I think, as like I say on Friday's show, keep him around the East Coast, close to Philadelphia, where his fans can go see him. Don't take him to Vegas all of a sudden, think, oh, we got, Eddie Hearn, we got a jewel. Then they get a big side fee from Vegas and they decide to take him there. And then, 5,000 people show up and it looks empty. So, no, don't do that. Do you have the Schofield clip?
I do, and people can see it. I just have to
share the screen. Share the screen here.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, hold on.
This should have been taken care of from the beginning, Bucho.
Yeah, I just thought that right away. I didn't even think about anything. All right, let me.
I don't want to hear excuses.
Let me just stop playing the music here, and let's play the video.
All right, we're gonna have to pause it in between because I got a couple of things to say.
Okay, you tell me when to pause it.
What up, y'all? I'm driving real fast, but I just had to.
Oh shit! Sorry. Wait, I gotta change the sound here. Uno momento, por favor. All right.
What up, y'all? I'm driving real fast, but I just had to update y'all on something before it hit the news or before it hit.
First of all, pause that, man. Pause it. How's he recording that? I'm gonna assume he has it on some sort of stand, right? The thing you put on the deck.
Yeah.
And then he just turned it around, but he's still, look at him. He's driving. He says, "I'm driving real fast." At the same time, he's recording himself. Look at that. He's not even paying attention to the road, man. This is the same guy that got caught beating the crap out of his ex-girlfriend or whatever she was. He is not a careful man. Like, do you don't know there might be cameras around? Like, you lose your temper that easily? I remember this guy was going at it with a YouTuber who also happens to be a professional boxer. I mean, people make fun of the guy, Greg Hackett. People make fun of him for his record. But the guy's like Greg Hackett or whatever his name is. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it, but the guy's 5'8", fighting in the heavyweight division. He's only doing it for the fun of it. He's not aspiring to be a contender or even a gatekeeper of some sort. He's just a guy, So this dude was getting into it with him because Hackett was criticizing his son. And not even anything out of line, just, basic criticism, constructive criticism. And this guy's like, well, what's your record, man? What's your record? What's your? And they start getting into it. So he couldn't control himself. He couldn't help getting annoyed or angry, rather, overly emotional because somebody dared to point out some of the wrong things that are going on with his son's career. And so now you're saying the same thing. Hey, I'm driving real fast, and I'm focused on recording myself instead of the driving, paying attention to the road. He's lucky he didn't crash himself.
We've been offered a fight with Abdullah Mason. Hell yeah, we accept that. $2.5 million. That's the price. So put the money on the wood, it all go good. Yesterday price ain't today's price.
Okay, rewind it. A little bit, yeah, like right there, yeah. Look at when he says, we've been offered a fight. Hell yeah, 2.5. Look at his eyebrows.
$5 million. That's the price. Still, we accept that.
He doesn't even believe what he's saying.
$2.5 million. That's the price.
He knows it's ridiculous what he's asking for.
Yeah.
He knows it's ridiculous. See, normally, Bucho, you tell me what you think later, but normally I wouldn't besmirch a guy for asking as much money as he, because it's a negotiating tactic, right? Let's say you ask for 3, but what you really want is 1.5 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But this is a dude who's been going all over YouTube, claiming my son's the best. You gotta believe me, my son. Like, why should we believe you? Just because you say he's the best, and he's going all over. So with that type of panache and that type of boistering that he does, I would expect him to say, listen, my son can beat anybody. We just need the chance. We just need the chance. Right. So we'll take the fight for $500,000. But no, 2.5.
Don't even mention a price. You'll negotiate that when when you have to negotiate. But you just say we want to fight him. Not 2.55. Like that's basically what's happening here. Like he's giving a very specific number. Why not just ask for 10 million at this point?
Exactly. Great point. Excellent point. Very, very percipient. And here's the other thing. Like I said, I'm just looking at his body language. The fake smile, which is even faker than his teeth, by the way. Look at this. He's got a bunch of public toilets in his mouth. Those aren't real teeth. And then the eyebrow thing. Like he knows they're not gonna give him 2.5. And by the way, keep playing it because there's only a couple more seconds left. Listen to what he says about the money.
So put the money on the wood, it all go good. Yesterday price ain't today's price, baby. Let's get this money, baby. Yes, we'll fight that brother. Put the money on the wood. He's with Turkey now and all them. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Is that why?
Why does he think? See, yeah, that's why. He mentioned the Turkey,
That's
so
why.
he thinks Turkey Al-Sheikh is just going to be throwing money at him. First of all, why would the Turkey trust these guys after what they pulled over in Saudi Arabia on the last crescendo card? People might have already forgotten, but recall that Schofield was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, and then on fight week, he fell ill, which I sympathize with him because I fell ill that same week. But, I mean, at the same time, now you're asking for, like, I don't know where you're asking for 2.5. That if I'm the Sheikh, already I'd mistrust you. Maybe not because I don't think you did it on purpose, the whole illness thing. But I'm thinking, all right, that was strange. And now it's even stranger that all of a sudden you're asking for 2.5 mil. What has he done to deserve 2.5 mil? Some people could be saying, BDA, maybe you're blowing this out of proportion. He's just talking. And that's the problem. The boy who cried wolf. And this is the father who cried the gay wolf. I mean, he's just screaming over the top. My son this, my son that. How do we know he's telling the truth now at this point? 2.5. What has his son done to even demand that? Can he generate a crowd? Can he generate ratings? No. If not, why are you asking for 2.5? Well, it's because I'm risking my son's record. But you said your son's the best thing ever. He's the best fighter in the world.
Again, why mention money? You want the fight? Okay, just say it. You don't have to say 2.5 million. Like, so what happens if there's no 2.5 million? There's no fight?
Exactly.
The Quack says...
And then that also...
No, just quickly in the chat, just to get people involved here. The Quack says that they are pricing themselves out. Let them. Some rando says they definitely did it on purpose. Casamigos Bruce says they saved Turkey a lot of money by trading places with an electrician. That's true, though.
I mean, yeah, but that's the other thing is if this guy's asking, Schofield's father is asking for 2.5 in a battle of prospects, how much is he gonna ask when it comes time to step up against a contender or a champion? What's he gonna ask for? 10 million? I'm telling you, these guys, and obviously, I mean, I'm gonna take what they're saying with a grain of salt, or what he's saying with a grain of salt. You have to with this dude, but it's still a battle. It's annoying. It's annoying too because I don't know if I'm like I said, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but you just don't know anymore. There's a lot of these fighters and their father, these father trainer son combos have unrealistic expectations of the world. Remember Haney not that long ago after he got battered by Garcia, a fight in which he was allegedly made to shitty Spence. The Haney apparently the thing is he wanted, they were offering him the Martin fight, I think, Sandor Martin, and I think he said something along the lines of Haney did of, these fights are beneath me. But I think it was a power fight too. I forget, but he didn't want to fight any of these guys. And Eddie Hearn had to be blown, but that's why Haney sort of was on the outs with Eddie Hearn because the Haneys, they think they're superstars now. They think they're pay-per-view stars, and they're not. Hell, even Tank Davis, who can draw better than Haney, is not a star himself. He's not a mainstream guy. So these guys have to really step it up, or step it down rather, and accept the fact that, look, if somebody's being benevolent enough to offer you a fight of this magnitude, you can ask for 2.5 mil. And again, if his justification is, well, it's because I'm risking my son. Well, I thought he wasn't a risk. I thought your son's the best, and he beats everybody. He beats Shakur Stevenson. He beats Abdullah Mason. Why all of a sudden that, like you said, why even mention a price?
I don't think they want the fight.
Yeah, like the Quack said, and a lot of other people have been saying that as well.
It's kind of funny though. We're in 2025, and a fight of this magnitude on a low-level HBO or a low-level pay-per-view is what I meant. Oscar De La Hoya was getting 1.3 mil and not even selling 300,000 pay-per-view buys. And these guys are asking for not even 3 mil a piece, and they don't meet the demand. It just kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Makes you wonder, and it also again, that's the last thing you want to do with us boxing fans, start getting us wondering, because we're dangerous thinkers, and a lot of boxing fans are going to look at this guy and say, okay, listen, I understand that a prospect versus prospect scenario is quite tricky. You often don't see it because it is a risk. Why would a promoter who's a businessman at the end of the day risk an investment this early on in their careers? It seldom doesn't happen. But then at the same time, then that figures into, okay, well, you're doing all this talking, and I'm talking about Schofield Sr. Now you look like a jackass because you're pricing yourself out, and boxing fans start wondering, like Chief said, they said, he's pricing himself out. Now we know he's not as confident as he says he is. And that sort of throws a monkey in the wrench, or a monkey in the works, wrench in the works, because the whole basis for all this is, wow, I just somebody posted something on Twitter. They said boxing needs Devin Haney, and people are asking him in the comment section why. He goes, well, it's because of the controversy and entertainment. Okay, granted, that's possible that it generates a modicum of interest, but then what happens when people see through your BS, like they're doing with the Schofields? Now all of a sudden you lose what little controversial powers you had, what little powers of stirring up the pot and the fighter's imagination. I don't know if I'm explaining myself here properly here, but in other words, people are starting to see through the facade, and that's not good.
I see through the facade.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Sorry, Butcher, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying bullshit. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chief. All right.
Now Chief is saying, no, you go ahead. Like he's playing power games with you.
No, I was just saying that we can see through the lies with our trained eyes. I'm trying to, talk like all these people are posting all these videos from Chris Eubank Sr. He's going crazy.
Sorry,
that too, yeah.
I couldn't mute myself, and so I logged off and logged back on.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I don't remember what I was saying now, but that's why I didn't respond. I had technical difficulties. I'm back though.
Well, the Butcher, you brought up the Eubank Sr. thing, where I don't know if people saw a video recently. He was asked again about his son, Chris Eubank Jr., and what his whole Egggate thing, where he slapped Conor Benn with an egg. And Eubank Sr. says that was disrespectful. It was, what was the word he used? He used another word, scandalous. No, he wasn't scandalous. It was another word, disgraceful, I believe it was. And some people are saying, man, that's harsh from Senior. Well, if you expect anybody and allow anybody to be harsh with you, it's got to be your father. Father knows best. A good father is the guy that molds you into the stand-up guy that you're supposed to be when you grow up. So I think I agree with Eubank Sr. First of all, I don't think Eubank Sr. was the best father ever, because look at how Junior turned out. I mean, I hate to say it, but I have from in my experience, when a son turns out a little bit out of whack, you got to be with the parents too. Maybe it was the mother more than anything. I don't know. But all I'm saying is the fathers, that the parents have to hold some responsibility. But right now, be that as it may, Eubank Sr. makes, I think, a solid point. Yeah, okay, you want to sell a fight. You don't have to assault a guy with an egg. And Eubank Jr. can cloud it behind, well, he's the guy that cheated, and therefore that's an affront to me, because if you cheat in a sport like this, it's dangerous, blah, 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 whatever. You can't slap a guy because of that. And I know that we live in an era where people say, well, that's the world we live in. If you talk to somebody, you expect to get assaulted. Like, people now justify assault as a retaliation for words, which to me indicates that people just don't know how to control themselves, or don't have the wit to dismantle a person's argument with counter arguments, obviously. And so I agree with Eubank Sr. on this matter. The whole slapping thing, it's not, and that's why you also see Chris Eubank Jr.'s career the way it's been. It's very calculated, money fights, and every time he's tried to step up in a real fight, what I would call a prestige fight, he's come up short, as he did against Billy Joe Saunders and against George Grove. So he knows he might not be that good, which is a shame, because I like Chris Eubank. Under any other trainer and with a different type of disposition, he could have been a great inside fighter. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating with great, but he has some good hand speed, good power, and some mean uppercuts. Some of the best uppercuts, I dare say, in boxing. But he hooked up with Roy Jones, and now he's trying to do the rooster thing that prime Roy Jones did. And unless you're a prime Roy Jones, you can't really do that. And that's what he's trying to do now. He's trying to be a boxer.
Who are you rooting for? Eubank Jr. or Conor Benn?
I'm not really. No, I'm neutral. I'm not really rooting. Actually, some days I feel like I would root for Conor Benn just because Chris Eubank Jr. is a bit of an ass. But at the same time, Conor Benn, he gets caught with the PEDs, and then he gets angry at people for even continuing to bring it up. It's like, man, he might think it's unfair, but at the end of the day, the test came back positive. and I don't know. He's posing in his underwear and kissing his father in the mouth. They're just very bizarre to me.
Is Eubank Sr. wearing a badge, a sheriff badge, or is that a Star of David?
Yeah, I don't know. Why is he a constable or something?
Yeah, I didn't understand what that was either. It looked like he was wearing some kind of formal uniform. I didn't know what it represented because I don't even really know what he does anymore, other than being a retired fighter.
He's been deputized.
But these offspring trying to make names for themselves off their dad's names and trying to separate themselves unsuccessfully. Well, at least at this side of the pond. I don't know what kind of draws they are over in England. If it's on, I'll watch it because I like boxing, but like I'm not salivating to say, oh wow, I got to see this fight. There's nothing about it that makes me say this is one of the best fights that's going to happen in any particular year coming up. So I don't have a dog in the fight whenever this fight may take place and unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Casamigo,
by the way,
yeah, sheriff of style and bad parenting.
Come on.
Well, I mean,
he's gonna form a posse.
There's something wrong with his son. So, I don't
No,
know.
no kidding.
He has to take
Something
some
wrong
of
with the whole family.
Oh yeah. What were you gonna say?
But I was gonna say about I forgot to say about Schofield. Somebody posted a clip of, I don't know when this is from, by the way. Cali Boxing and D-Style were interviewing Floyd Schofield Jr. or Flo, whatever his name is. I don't know when it's from again, but Schofield is in the frame, right? Within he's got a webcam on, so he's talking to them via webcam, over the internet, and you start hearing, as always, Senior talking off camera, out of the frame. He's in the room, but he knows. Oh, my sons. He always does that. It's become a meme now, where his son's doing an interview over the internet, and he has to sneak in and start talking from across the room. My son, and you could hear the echoes, like they're in a bathroom or something. And so he started talking, and he sounds very effeminate. Cali Boxing starts laughing. He goes, because Senior starts going, "We gonna get that money. We gonna get that money. We gonna get all the money." And then Cali's Boxing goes, "Hey, shout out to mom. I like her moxie," or something like that. But he thought it was Schofield's mom, because that guy sounds so much like a woman. And it's not even, it's not just the cadence and the way he talks like a woman, but it's the pitch too. And you can tell he's talking by straining his throat as opposed to his chest. And Buccio, it's interesting. You told me about that Steve-O, the Jackass guy, that how he used to talk like this, right? Yeah, like that. And then that he actually started taking therapy or undergoing some sort of speech therapy. And he actually learned how to talk normally, because he turns out he was talking all out of whack with his thorax or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. No, something with the throat, like.
Right. I'm not a physician, but yeah, I mean, so if he takes some classes, I'm pretty sure he can reverse the way he talks. I mean, he can de-gayify himself.
He wants to talk like a woman. I don't know.
Come on, I don't know about that.
Like a mom. Rick Glazer. Is it Glazier? Is Glazier like glazing or glazer? I don't even know.
I think it's like laser, yeah.
Glazer.
Yeah, Glazer.
Like laser. Rick Glazer says that rumors of Floyd Mayweather Jr. being in financial trouble is hard to shallow, but it's deeply rooted, I'm told. Let's hope it's not true. It would be a real fall from grace for the former fighter known as Money May. What do you guys think? You think Floyd is bankrupt?
Somebody get a hold of Dirk. He's probably crying right now. Anyway, we've heard these rumors many times over, and Floyd hasn't gone to jail for any kind of like owing people money or anything else like that yet. But his online estimated net worth has gone down over $300 million since 2020. So something's going on somewhere. I don't know if this means he's literally broke now or if he just made another bad investment, but he was on Fox News and then some night show trying to promote some kind of workout supplements not too long ago, which suggests that he's still trying to make, the guy that supposedly doesn't need to do anything for the rest of his life because he's made plenty of money is still trying to sell what much he has left, to still try and make a buck. Not that I blame him. Michael Jackson had a lien against one of his houses before he died, so it's proof of the fact that you can never make too much money. That being said, it's kind of like when Muhammad Ali was doing the the bug commercials just before he couldn't talk anymore. You're obviously scraping what you have left off of what little reputation that you can still sell in the public eye. And that's kind of what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story as old as time. Boxers and any type of major athlete going broke. I mean, and again, I hope it's not true because people confuse. Look, when you root against a guy during their boxing careers, it's a pastime. Boxing. It's you root against a guy doesn't mean you hate him. And even though Floyd Mayweather certainly gave people a lot to dislike him over, the antics, and people even admit that he wanted to play the bad guy. So that's what comes with the territory, being disliked. Also, his outside the ring antics, comments that he made too, racial comments, and then even though post-retirement, some of the sociopolitical stances he's taken. But still, you don't want to see a guy go broke. But at the same time, you saw how he spent his money. The big thing is, I was on ESPN a couple of years ago. It was a documentary about how, I forget the percentage of athletes from the NBA, MLB, or whatever major league. A couple of years after their retirement, they end up going broke because the main thing is they keep spending as if they were still earning the same amount that they were while they were professional athletes, active athletes. And the money stops coming in. And I mean, you could see the if it is indeed true, by the way, because Leonard Ellerby, who's ever loyal to Mayweather, I think he just recently came out and said, no, he's never going to go broke, which I hope he doesn't. But you look at some of the red flags that were coming up in the last couple of years, the outrageous statement that he made 50 mil per month or some astronomical number. The fact that he was at some point was endorsing paint guns, one of the, for the paintball tournaments and all that. Then the alleged crypto scam that he partook in a couple of years ago. And then the way he's going, it's a red flag, and hopefully it's a cautionary tale for current boxers that, hey, you're not always going to be earning 10 mil per year or whatever amount they do. You got to invest it, and you got to tighten the belt at some point if you don't have that much money coming in every year anymore.
Yeah, I think the episode, it was the 30 for 30 you're referring to, that was called Broke. And it was fighters that were not fighters. It was about basketball and football players that once they got signed, they went wild. And then all of a sudden they started talking about when their wives were leaving them and when the injuries that were coming up for the medical bills. And because, your body doesn't hold up the same way when you get older. And so you start going to the doctor more, and doctors aren't free. So you have to pay. If you don't have insurance, then you got to pay for that out of pocket. Guess where that comes from? The money you earned when you were, an active athlete. But unless you're like Randy Moss and Tom Brady, you're not getting, well, even Randy, because when he came back, he wasn't getting paid top dollar. So unless you go out like Manning and Brady getting top dollar while you're still getting paid, your salary diminishes. You're only worth what you can provide. But people think that the professional sports really isn't merit-based, but when you stop and think about it, it is. How much was Chavez making at the top of his game? How much was he making at the end? How much was Mike Tyson making at the beginning? How much was he making at the end? They weren't getting paid nearly the same before they left. So it's still merit-based. It's just probably more, it's not as merit-based as it is for the rest of us, but it's still merit-based because, Tyson's fighting for $30 million against Evander Holyfield, fighting for $5 million against Clifford Etienne just before he stopped. Right. It's because the demand for him wasn't as high.
Remember, right after the Lennox Lewis fight, not right after, but after the Lennox Lewis fight in circa 2003, he was actually hooking up Tyson, that is, with Top Rank. They had devised a multi-fight deal that was going to get him to the Lennox Lewis rematch. And I forget for how many millions they estimated it was going to be. All Tyson had to do was win. And of course, we know what happened against the British guy. I forget his name.
Brian Nielsen on top of that. Oh, not Brian Nielsen, Kevin McBride, I think was his name.
Yeah, that was at the end. Yeah, that was in 2005. So, the other thing I wanted to get back to is the professional athletes. Henry Armstrong, and I know this was a infinity ago, but he earned a lot of money too. Because not everyone, but most people, when they look at a fighter, professional boxer, who's down on his luck post-retirement and undergoing financial strain, the general thinking is, oh man, poor guy, he must have gotten robbed by his promoters and all the snakes that come with the sport of boxing. You take a look at a guy like Henry Armstrong, for example. He spent it all away. He every day he was out boozing and partying, and that can dry your funds real quick. And now you're taking into consideration, let's take the modern world. Take a guy like Floyd Mayweather. Apparently, the rumor is he spent I don't know how many. Apparently, he was buying one pair of sneakers per day because he didn't want to reuse them. He wanted a brand new, pristine pair every day. Apparently, that was a rumor. Then you got the cars, the mansions, the women, the entourage that you got to support. This is that's the United States, by the way. So if you're a prominent figure and people smell money on you, they'll try to sue you for whatever, the reason. And they're not even really looking to beat you in court. They just want a settlement. And so you got that. Then he's got kids. He's got a wife. I don't know if he still has a supporter or them. That's, money can dry up real quick. And let's remember that he also owed a bunch of money after the Pacquiao fight. A large chunk of his purse went to the IRS. Or was it after the McGregor fight? I forget.
It was, if memory serves, just before the McGregor fight, it came out that he owed taxes on the money from the Pacquiao fight, but he also owed money dating back to when he fought Shea Mosley, because they said how far back it went. So he, for the record, for everyone that thinks that he was always well off, he came out of retirement to fight Marquez because he needed the money. He owed $6 to $6.5 million to the government. It was guaranteed 10. There was no talk of back end money. Not to say he didn't get any, but there was no report of it. So we're just going to leave that at that on how much he made. So he owed $6 million to the government. That $10 million was taxed. So that's probably another $3 million of 30% of $10 million, because they're not taxing off what's left. They're taxing him off of what he's making in that fight. So that's $9 million right there. And he owed $600,000 to Marquez for not making weight. So if there was back end money, that's all he made. Because on top of that, when you're done, now you have to pay your corner and your manager and everybody else. So that $10 million was gone. Now, Daniel Telly, that guy that I used to say was, I used to not mention his name, but, I don't care anymore. They used to talk to me all the time because he was such a Floyd Mayweather fan. Would say, well, I know he didn't fight for free. And I finally told him when I said, you're right, he didn't fight for free. He fought for $10 million. Doesn't mean he got to keep it.
Exactly. That's a good point. And I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I remember in the build-up to the Hatton fight during the 24/7s, there was one episode, and I can't find it because you can find 2 or 3 of the Hatton Mayweather episodes. There's one missing, and I think it's in that one. He's at his house. It's late at night after training. He's talking about how his body can't take it anymore, or he can't take much more of the boxing grind, and he's thinking about retiring. And lo and behold, that's what he did. He retired after the Hatton fight. Yep. But like I said, back then, I remember I used to go to the message boards, talk boxing, no YouTube back then, and somebody said that this was during the summer of 2008 when he blew the De La Hoya rematch and retired. Apparently, somebody said that he was going around with his rapper friends on tour. And he was backstage, enjoying the backstage VIP experience and all that. And sometimes he would go on stage. Apparently, a rapper friend of his told him one time, "Hey, man, like you got to start thinking about what you're gonna do post-retirement for money." And then Mayweather was like, "Well, what you mean?" Yeah. He says like, "Yeah, you can't just. What are you gonna do about money?" He says, "Well, I thought I could come on tour or something." He thought he was gonna be able to be like a Kardashian who shows up at clubs and they pay money for that. That works with hot women. Doesn't work with Floyd Mayweather. Doesn't work with a man. So that's probably, like Chief, like you said, it makes sense what you're saying, that he came back for the Marquez and all the other fights because of the money. He doesn't strike me as a type of guy who's very judicious with his money. And that's the other thing. Look, I understand that a lot of these guys, they got, like I said, they got lives, they got children, they got wives, and at the same time, they got to train, they got to sort through the politics of boxing. This guy wants to fight, but he wants this amount of money, and then there's a trickery with the promoters and so on and so forth. A lot of these guys, they're not focused on their finances. They should. I'm not excusing them, but I'm saying, I'm giving reasons. They're not Ivy Leaguers. They're not people that grew up not necessarily balancing out a checkbook or the family pocketbook. It's they live a high life, high octane life.
Well, real quick to finish up on Floyd, and then I'm gonna move over to the Charlos because they're another example. I was doing some back research and some back stories, and they were reporting on ESPN that he was wearing a $600,000 watch before he even fought Corrales. Corrales was his first $1 million payday.
Is that right?
So they I think it was supposed to split a $3 million purse, and originally it was reported they split a 50-50, but it's come out later that Mayweather got a couple $100,000 more. but they both got around 1.5 or a little bit more. Well, obviously Floyd got maybe a little bit more, and Cross had to get a bit less because 1.5 is 3. So that being said, before he even makes $1 million payday, he's already wearing a $300,000 watch. So he's been living outside of his means ever since he turned pro, pretty much. So, and each time, as 50 Cent said, it was train, fight, spend, repeat. That's just the way he lived his life. I'm guessing he assumed because I'm Floyd Mayweather and I'm undefeated and I beat Oscar De La Hoya and I've got all this notoriety, I'll get endorsements. Well, you need a manager to get those for you, because even Ray Leonard needed Mike Trainer, his lawyer, to get those deals done. They don't just walk up and just, you just you walk into a room and do a commercial and you get paid. There's contracts and negotiation stuff that goes on there. And didn't seem like Al and Ellerby were really lining those up. Now, I do remember right after the Pacquiao fight, he was talking about how he was done. He was never going to come back again because he's made plenty of money. And then Ellerby's like, and we already have in our emails for 6 movie roles. Well, I've looked them up on IMDb, and I don't think they even got half a star.
Come on.
So, which means, I'm not trying to exaggerate. I don't think they got any real notoriety. I've never heard of any of them, and they never were mainstream.
But you know what? Those are snub critics. Don't listen to don't pay attention to the stars.
Okay.
Those are snub
Point
critics.
Being,
they don't know what the movie is.
Make any money. If they didn't make any money, he didn't make any money. They're not going to go in debt to make a movie just to put Floyd Mayweather with his name on it. I mean, there are delusional fans out there that believe that people will just throw money at Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, they're probably the same people like Jasmine Crockett that think some people that are rich just get money thrown at them. But that's not the way it really works. You get paid based off what you bring in. And when you're in a movie and the movie doesn't make any money, you're not getting paid a lot. True. It's just that simple.
And that's the interesting thing about boxing is people, you can't really it's difficult to get endorsements in boxing. And that's the other thing. Boxing, I made the argument the other day. People say, boxing now, it's in the infra world. It's in the nether realm. It's not popular. It used to be popular. It's already proven that boxing will appeal to the masses because it used to be the number one sport back in the old days. We're talking the 30s and 40s. And even when it was the trifecta of baseball and horse racing, boxing was still part of that trifecta of the Holy Trinity. It's just throughout the years, to recap, I'm not going to make it long, once HBO came on the scene in the late 70s and decided, okay, what can we do to bolster a sports section? Well, we can't compete and steal the NFL. We can do it with the NBA or NHL, whatever. Boxing was the only sport out there. So they took, I think that there was another sport, tennis, I think they took. But anyway, boxing, they took it over. And little by little, people started losing interest in it because they couldn't see it. They couldn't see the major fights. They were all locked away on premium cable or pay-per-view. So that made people forget about it. But as a product itself, boxing has already proven that it will appeal to the masses. And so but what all of that to say is that's one of the reasons why a lot of these professional boxers never got endorsements, because the companies look at them, they go, well, who the fuck is this guy? Nobody knows about him. That's the whole point of endorsement, is that you're going to attract people by putting in a name that they recognize. And if they put in a Zanibek in there, people are going to go, who's this Chinese guy? What is he, a basketball player or something?
Right. Well, and there's another side to this too. As snobby as I'm going to sound in this situation, you have to have some kind of attractiveness to you.
Is he cutting off or is it just me?
And he
was a pretty boy.
I can hear him.
So
Ray Leonard was
a guy. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you for that. He was a pretty boy.
You don't need to be schizo about saying that he was a pretty boy when that's what he was built as.
I'm just worried about the comeback from BDA that's going to, if I don't say it the right way. Anyway, okay, so he was a pretty boy, but he was articulate. Even if he didn't say all the right words completely the right way, he enunciated well, and he sounded intelligent, even if he wasn't as smart as he was let out to be. And I'm not saying that he's not an intelligent guy, because every time I hear him, he sounds very well spoken, very well read. So, but he had that. And De La Hoya, even though he didn't sound quite as intelligent as Ray Leonard, still spoke well. And again, another pretty boy. And Muhammad Ali, back in the day, was considered a pretty boy for a heavyweight. So you have to have some kind of aesthetic, pleasing presence with charisma, and then you still have to sound like you can read a book. Floyd doesn't sound like that. Mike Tyson didn't sound like that. Evander Holyfield didn't sound like that. Riddick Bowe didn't sound like that. Lennox Lewis did. Lennox Lewis, maybe not in this country, but in England, got a lot of endorsements. So it's how you present yourself. You've got to sound intelligent, and most fighters don't. It's not that they're not smart. They just, English wasn't their best subject. And so, you're not going to sell a lot of things when you can't speak right.
It won't be the most shocking thing in the world if Mayweather actually is in financial trouble. I mean, this guy, his entire shtick was about, like you said, living beyond his means before he was a multi-millionaire. But I mean, is this? I've only just tuned in, but is this really the topic for today? I mean, I found Duran's comments about Mayweather to be a lot more interesting. Like, I mean, Floyd could make this money back if he really is going through some hardship. I mean, he'll just get another a BS exhibition match, and he'll make tons of money off of it.
Those aren't drawing in what the McGregor fight did.
No, not with that Gotti guy. I mean, he was fighting in Mexico. That just tells you everything. By the way, Virtuoso, thank you for your super chat. He says there's too many Angel Reeses in boxing. I checked that. That's the basketball player, right? Oh, who's that?
Yeah, I don't know who Angel Reese is. I don't know.
Let us know.
But here's the other thing, man.
We're Rapax Trucking Company. Thank you for your super chat. He says Canelo versus Floyd 2 for Floyd's debt relief fund. Yeah, that's the type of fight I would give him a bunch of money. That or a Pacquiao rematch. But I don't think.
Floyd had all of these. Floyd was never a model of how you should handle yourself as an athlete. I mean, the guy, I don't know if he actually did hit women as much as they say he was accused of, but he was certainly a schizo in general. But also, I mean, the way he was pushing, he'll talk about money before he'll talk about anybody else. Like, he'll talk about money as if money makes you suddenly a good person. Yeah, that was never healthy. So somebody who was that obsessed as a grown man for money, about money, it would never be a healthy thing, of course. And he had all of these charlatan grifters in the YTBC, praising everything he did. So it wouldn't be shocking if Floyd actually has gone broke, but I just don't know if it's really. I mean, nobody really cares about Floyd, and because he doesn't care about anyone.
Oh,
what do you mean though?
He's still got some diehard fans that will crucify you verbally if you don't pay homage to their god, Floyd Mayweather.
Well, yeah, he's got.
Yeah, there's people. There's even some of them. There's even some of them in the chat. Like, you start criticizing the guy, and they go they try to shame you for talking about him because they don't like what they're hearing. But I mean, it is what it is. It's been reported on the news. We're just reporting what people. We're just talking about what people are reporting about.
No,
right.
Yeah, he's got he's got these schizo charlatan grifters who praise everything he does. And I've only been on YouTube for a short time, and my I don't even have videos on Floyd yet. But I had one video on how a fight between him and Terence Crawford may have panned out, and these nut jobs they're so obsessed with him. But these charlatan channels like Boxing Ego, they'll never debate you on any of this stuff. They're just obsessed with praising everything Floyd does like he's a god, and it's truly pathetic.
You should have been here. You should have been here when he was an active boxer. Well, there you go. Because I mean, if you think what they do with Tank Davis is bad, should have seen what they were doing with Mayweather. But you know what? Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. It says Angel Reese for his contribution with the super chat, by the way. He says Angel Reese reminds me of Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. I don't know what that is, but I can only imagine. I don't know what's going on. over there at the WNBA. I don't want to know.
It's a basketball player. I'm gonna post a picture so people can see who that is.
Fantastic. Well, that's the other thing though. The other thing that was in the news was Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz. Allahu Akbar. By the way, you guys know that Allah is the one true God and Muhammad is his prophet. Just wanted to let you guys know about
I don't
that.
want to piss anybody off here.
Wait, who are you?
Oh, yeah.
Who are you quoting there? Who are you quoting?
Oh, come on! I gotta give you a source for that. But here's the thing: Hamza Shiraz was doing very well. He had a lot of upside. Then he has that fight against Adames, which a lot of people thought he should have lost. Some people even feel like Turki Al-Sheikh might have bailed him out. He'd been training with Ricky Funes over in California for a while now, in the United States, obviously, away from his UK base, Shiraz, that is. Now all of a sudden the news comes out that he's dumping Ricky Funes, and he said, "I know how this is gonna look. I don't wanna make it seem like I'm making excuses for what happened, but I just think I need a fresh start." I think, wait a minute, a fresh start? You had one fight where you didn't look all that great and you might have lost. Okay, so what? You're gonna, after every other thing, you need. In other words, what I'm saying is, does a loss really necessitate you to change trainers? I mean, not for nothing, but I don't know if it has anything to do with religion or whatever, and I don't think it does because the lawyer used to do it too. But Amir Khan was another move. I know Amir Khan is used to do the same thing. After every loss, he would change trainers. I'm thinking they're not going to strengthen your jaw, man. The problem is your punching endurance, and so it's the same thing we hear with Hamza Shiraz. One bad performance, or there should have been a loss. What was that?
Hamza?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to say it properly, right? I mean, anyway. Hamza Shiraz has one loss, and all of a sudden he changes trainers. And I just wanted to use this as an example of how, we're talking about Floyd Mayweather doing the stereotypical boxer thing where he spends all his money and goes broke post career. Same thing with the trainers. You think it's bad being a professional boxer? Oh, woe is me. Nobody takes care of me. Professional trainers are even less respected at that bargaining table, because you can have a guy, you can train him since he's 12 years old. You can, you take him to amateur tournaments. You pay for the hotel room, the transport, obviously the gas. You might even have to give him a little pocket money here and there. Maybe his mother's a cracker or something. You got to go intervene. You got to do all of that. And then what happens one day? A promotional entity comes along. They say, hey, yeah, we're going to sign you. But you know what? This guy, and we know you like him. He did a lot for you. You might need a trainer who's actually more up with it. You know what I mean? Somebody who really knows the business, professional trainer, blah, blah, blah. And they dump you. After all you put in, that's what happens. So it's very difficult to be a trainer too.
Well, and no one's going to play a violin for the Duvas because they're mainstream, but they sponsored both Fernando Vargas and Zab Judah all the way through their amateur career. And then right after they both won titles, they kicked them to the curb and picked up their old trainers. Now, no disrespect to that at all by going back home to who, loyal to your where your neighborhood, where you're from. But those guys didn't get you out of poverty and to the Olympics and everything else. The Duvas did. They're the ones that made sure that you had a gym to train to, that you had a car to drive back and forth, that your mom had a job. They did all this stuff for them. And then all of a sudden, all this money they poured into them, then once these guys got the titles, they fired them and went back home. And then look what happened to both of their careers after that happened. When Garcia took back over as Vargas' trainer, what happened? He started losing. Same with Zab Judah. He fired the Duvas and went with his dad, and he got knocked out in 2 rounds by Kostya Tszyu, and his career never really picked back. It picked back up, but it never reached the potential they were hyping him up to be. Mm-hmm. And so, you're usually, I imagine you're referring to the neighborhood guy just up the road that takes that one person all the way to the top and then can be cut out, and he's in the middle of nowhere, or he's in the local gym at home. Whereas I'm talking about the Duvas, they were multimillionaires and a promotional company, everything else. But either way you look at it,
Chief. Not even, Chief. Yeah, but not even, Chief. I mean, I'm talking. Look at Derrick James. He's trained Errol Spence from the beginning too, I think, or near the beginning, all throughout his professional career. And then all of a sudden, Errol Spence has one bad loss, which in part was his fault, with all the drinking and the boozing and whatever else he was doing, flying out of cars. Why is that Derrick James's fault? I mean, the trainer is not the babysitter. He can, a good trainer, he'll be as tough as he has to be, and in theory, he should be good enough to hold his fighter's attention. But at the end of the day, the fighter is an adult. He's not a little kid anymore. Trainer can go around babysitting him 24 hours a day.
You're right. Don't do what the trainers. I'm sorry. You go first.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say briefly about Errol Spence. I mean, he's another guy who, and I've been a fan of Spence for a while, but the amount of people who were defending everything he was doing, like when he was turning up to press conferences drunk, saying just dumb stuff about about how Al Heyman is so great and how, you know, Bob Arum is pure evil and all this nonsense. Like, it was just so bad that people enabled that kind of stuff. Like, if you called him out and said, hey, you shouldn't be drinking like this and freaking driving, like, I mean, he got into another car accident after he almost lost his life. It was just, and the sycophants was just so stupid. But going to Hamza Shiraz, like, I actually predicted that Adames was going to beat him, and I was extra pissed when the judges robbed him. But he's promoted by Frank Warren, and Frank, he had another fighter who he kind of like babysit, because Frank Warren being an old tycoon in the business, he actually does like babysit. He does come across like a babysitter, just not a very nice one with his guys. And when Daniel Dubois got cleaned out by Dubois and Usyk, he adopted again this real, like, you know, we got to babysit him and, you know, treat him with kid gloves. And, you know, he showed character since then. But I mean, with this Joseph Parker thing, not so much. But he's been enabled to do that, and this is without an actual. If you actually follow Dubois, he doesn't actually have a legit trainer in his corner. Like, his dad runs everything, and Don Charles is just a spineless cheerleader. So I think maybe I'm getting a little conspiratorial. I think this is actually a problem with Frank Warren fighters in general, because Tunde Ajayi, when Frank was putting a lot of money into Anthony Yarde, Tunde Ajayi was, you know, not helping Yarde in the slightest, really. So I don't think it's just, you know, him, Shiraz, being a bit like Amir Khan, like you say, BDA. I think it might be a Frank Warren problem.
That's interesting. I didn't see that pattern. I didn't know about the connection. But yeah, going back to Hamza Shiraz.
Well, we have other people on the panel here if they want to jump in. We have Uncle Charles, Solidus, and that's it.
Uncle Charles is in on the panel?
I think that's the real Uncle Charles.
Can't hear him.
What's up, y'all?
Oh, there he
Uncle
is.
Charles, man.
What up?
Let me tell y'all something.
I've never been on the panel with him before. Go ahead, Charles.
Let's get one thing straight. I want people to, Errol Spence career just might be well over. But a lot of people know he was in that last car wreck and he flipped over, but they didn't know why. But I'll tell you why. Because that other dude, that rapper out of Texas, he was chasing him, and then he lost control of the car. So now when he get in the ring now and he get hit in the face, well, he's gonna swell up real fast and his skin might open up real fast because he had a serious car wreck. A lot of people don't understand he's supposed to have been dead in that car wreck, and the guy was chasing him. He lost control. He was so scared of him, he lost. I can't understand. Here you whoop people asses on the regular, but you scared of a guy that's probably 2 feet taller than you. I don't understand that shit. I don't get it. But let me just say this. Boxing is not the same anymore. Let me explain something to you what I mean. See, back then when boxers was fighting, they were taking taco meat out of folks' heads. Just like that fight with Hagler and Hitman Hearns, that wasn't a fight, that was a street fight. And I guarantee you, if it was in the street, somebody would have died. I can guarantee you that. Now we got these guys, they coming all out here to the ring with goddamn with all these different kind of suits on. Team one came to the ring with a pamp on and a baby baller, and his ass got knocked out in 38 seconds. And they regularly trying to wake him up in the damn ring. You need to check that damn pepper and see he got 3 Snicker bars in it. That's what you need to do, because he don't mess on his goddamn self. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So let me just say this: the fighters today don't compare to the fighters of yesterday. Mayweather run around here and say he's greater than Ali. Use a damn lie. And you know why? Because Ali took on the government and he lived to tell about it. You ain't took on no government. That's why you'll be a fool and your money will soon part. You'll be broke soon because you don't know. You got a watch on his arm right now that he can feed Africa with. What the hell you need with that watch for? I know some people can eat off that damn watch for the next 2 years, but you gotta have it. You gonna be broke. And your ass gonna be outside of a package store doing little dances for 50 cents. Let me say this in closing. You wanna do whatever you wanna do. They wanna compare us to back then. You can't do it. Let me explain something to you. Everybody wanna be a legend. my brothers and sisters. Everybody want to be a legend. But do you know they had a guy at that Water World? He trained whales for 30 years. He was a legend, yes. But then 2 weeks later, they brought a killer whale in there, and he's selling his ass and killed him. And why did he kill him? Because he never trained a killer whale. Is he still a legend? Yes, but his ass is still dead, though. Let me tell you something, man. Everybody can't be a legend, and everybody can't be the best. You running around here and you doing all this talking, but yet still, are you willing to put it in the ring and put it on the line like they did back then? Are you willing to do it? No, they ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it because they're a bunch of wimps. And I keep telling people, these guys trying to make money, trying to have pages and do all this other stuff, but you're not focusing on boxing. Let me tell you something. I'll say this. I seen a guy one night get his nose pushed through the back of his head, and they did an interview with him. I wonder how did they do an interview, and he was just smiling. He said, you know what? Even though I got effed up, I was glad of the opportunity. See, he was glad to get effed up. That's what kind of man you need fighting. The one don't give a damn. And that's all I got to say, player. Appreciate you.
I love it. Charles on fire.
What, Charles? That was a lot you said there. But one thing you said about Spence, I mean, I think I completely disagree with you about Spence, about a lot of these fighters not having heart. I mean, some of them definitely don't. Like Dubois doesn't have a lot of fighting heart, but neither does Joshua. But Spence, I mean, he's got too much fighting heart. Like the guy was upset when the fight with Crawford was stopped, and afterwards in the locker room with his face broken in half, he said, we got to do it again. Like he was there crying with his child. So the guy's got too much fighting heart. I think he's just, he's just undisciplined. I mean, so that's one of the problems. I mean, Duran and Tony are examples of guys who were undisciplined back in the day, but they were just too talented to, I mean, they became greats despite that. Yeah, so I wouldn't say
he got hard. He got hard, but he was running that night for Mo3. He got a lot of heart, but he was running for his life. He was running from that other guy. That's how he lost control of the car. And nobody want to admit it. Nobody want to talk about it. But I'm talking about it, and I don't give a damn what nobody think. I'm telling you.
Are you talking about? This is a legit. Wait. This is a legit question. Are you talking about the day Spence Spence flipped his car? Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. He ran for his life.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I'm letting y'all know because I got family down there in Texas down there. So we've been doing a show like that, and I'm telling you, he was running for it like that. But all of them stayed in the same apartment building, and all this was, you know what he was running for? I tell you why he was running. All this is over a girl, over some woman, and you got your face almost took off because of a girl. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get on out of here, BD8. This is what I'm saying is that you got people on here that give a different perspective. Yeah, I'm not the smartest tool in the box, but I am that tool. And these guys come on here, these guys are very experienced. Some of them more experienced than me. And that's okay because I'm gonna be able to learn, and then when I come back, I'm gonna hit more harder because I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna be able to take them boulders and them rocks, and I'll be able to come back and get it real, set it off real for real, and that's what I'm gonna do. And I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you for jumping on.
Charles.
Wow, that's some.
Hey yo, BDA.
Always a pleasure, Uncle Charles.
Yeah, thank you for jumping on.
Hey yo,
all right, Solidas, go ahead.
Hey, I was listening past, I think, 7-8 minutes. Now, usually I like talking about what's going on inside the ring when the fighters are fighting. But this conversation is really interesting, so I thought I'd jump on real quick. So it's cool to be on. But as far as Errol Spence go, the worst thing that happened to him was hanging around Yellow Bees. He embraced that lifestyle that a boxer shouldn't embrace. That kind of fucked his career up. Even though I like Errol Spence, but he should have never did that. That fucked him over. Because now, like smoking and drinking, and you're trying to be a pro athlete, smoking and drinking, that ain't gonna work. Yeah, as we saw, it didn't work. So I just feel like he's a victim of negative influence. I pretty much think that sums up his the latter part of his career. So that's what I think about that.
Do you guys think he wouldn't? I think he would still have lost against
Crawford.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah, I believe I believe he would have lost to Crawford as well, even if he didn't smoke a drink. But outside of the Crawford fight, he was headed that way because of all that negative influence. But I still think he would have lost to Crawford, yes.
Okay.
So my take on Spence is the fact that he had a lot of hype coming out of the amateurs, and he was tearing through a bunch of people, looking very impressive as a prospect. He went from prospect to like almost champion. He almost skipped the contender phase, and then by the time he got to the title, when he fought Brooke, that was his peak. He never got better after that, and then but the hype was still running.
Yeah,
so,
So you saying as a boxer, Spence peaked in that fight, like he didn't get better as far as his skills?
Well, I mean the age range was his peak, is what I'm getting at. And as a boxer, yes, he did not get better after that fight. Matter of fact, you could almost say he got worse. Now, whether he got worse because of the car wreck and the lifestyle, or because he may not have been what the hype was, is going to be something people are going to argue about forever. And I don't care. I'll take the debate, but I don't really care. The point is, what I was seeing this whole time, like right around the time he fought Ocampo, I said the only fighter at welterweight that can give him a good fight and possibly even beat him was Crawford. And I was getting chastised everywhere, even on this panel for that. Well, not the panel, but out through this page. But the proof was in the pudding based off of each performance. I mean, when you stop and look at the fact that, Danny Garcia was not really a full-fledged, accomplished welterweight. And even though he won majority of those rounds, when Danny landed, you can say that those punches had a serious effect on Spence. Both Ugas was after the wreck, but Ugas and Porter have under 50% knockout ratios, and we're knocking them around the ring. And I'm like, how's this guy going to beat Terrence Crawford?
See, that's basically the same thing I was saying. When he was going through his run, I was watching him fight, and I was like, the only guy that can beat him is Terrence Crawford. Everybody else, they're going to come up short. So I was basically saying the same thing.
Well, it's also a weak division, and that's the reason why it was only one guy that could do it.
I can't really, like I told you, like I said last time, the weak division thing, I understand sometimes that might happen. You might be in a division that's weak, but you really got no control over that. So I can't stand against him. He fought the guys in the division. They had the belts this fight. He fought him. He beat him. Only guy he could beat was Crawford. The division being weak, he has no control over that. So I'm not going to mention that.
I get you. It's kind of like Marlon Starling. It's kind of like Marlon Starling. Most people don't realize.
You said what?
It's kind of like Marlon Starling. Most people think that his division was weak. It was actually somewhat stacked. They just didn't know who his champions were. And they weren't, none of them became Hall of Famers. So they think it was a weak division.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay,
well,
so
I wouldn't say that
let me sum up Marlon Starling back to Spence analogy real quick, and I promise it won't take long. So the point, your and I, our conversation was about Hall of Fame, is what our roundabout was about. And the bottom line is the fact that, life's not fair and not everyone gets in. Marlon Starling's still not in. There's a point in time when every champion from the WBC to the IBF all lost to him while he was still an active fighter. So he had a win over the WBC, the WBA, and IBF welterweight champions, and he never made the Hall of Fame. So it's not something that just happens. I agree with you. He fought the best there was, came in second place. But just because he fights the best there was in a weak division doesn't mean we should automatically try and bump him towards the Hall of Fame because his division was weak and we're going to give him an attaboy and say, well, yeah, but you tried. That's not really the way it works. That was basically the discussion.
Well,
I was debating. Real quick. I was debating somebody earlier about Usyk. He happened to fight at heavyweight at a time when heavyweight was booming, and he beat all those guys. But we were saying, had he not fought, let's say if the division wasn't that good when he was fighting, we felt that he still would have been a Hall of Fame because he was really good. That's how we feel about Spence. And like I said last time, you don't work for the Hall of Fame committee, so I can't go off what you say. I'll go off with the Hall of Fame.
You don't know if I vote or not, do you?
Well,
No.
Well,
you can do what you want. But I know when they do the Hall of Fame, they're pretty much going to vote him in. Pretty sure that's going to happen.
We'll see.
Well, Spence is definitely.
I know you know
in
that.
the Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Spence is definitely.
No, go ahead.
Hello.
My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Jeez Louise.
Spence is definitely getting in the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't say the division was weak. My In fact, I never felt that the welterweight division was weak. I felt that Spence was just, and I feel a bit weird saying this now because it's years gone by, but he was definitely overhyped, and we can thank Mayweather for that. I mean, I literally remember it like it was yesterday. All of the Mayweather fans, they flocked over to Errol Spence as soon as Keith Thurman started calling Mayweather out, and they acted like Thurman becoming unified welterweight champion meant that he had the honor of fighting Errol Spence. I mean, it was just ridiculous. It was, again, these Mayweather sycophants. It was just, that's unfortunately how Spence became so big. I think Spence was proved to be the truth, but he was never as good as, as far as his talent, he was never as good as some people claimed. Sean Porter, I don't agree with people that say that Sean Porter won that fight. I thought it was very, very close. But Sean Porter was outboxing Errol Spence for moments in that fight. It was horrible that, from a skills perspective, that Spence was getting outboxed during the first 6 rounds. Now, he turned it around, but he didn't do anything really technical to break Porter down. It was just his relentlessness that helped him. So in terms of a talent, maybe I'm not sure if I would agree that Errol Spence never improved, but in terms of what he could have been, yeah, he definitely became a bit limited. And I think definitely him having this legal battle with Derek James after he lost, when he was still talking like he was going to get back into the ring and challenge Sebastian Fundora, is just very out of touch. And I mean, he was definitely never going to improve without Derek James. And yeah, he is a bit of a weird one. I do agree, maybe not the elite among the elite Hall of Famers, but because of his accomplishments, I definitely say he deserves to be there. But it is a bit strange for a guy to be in the Hall of Fame, and yet when he steps up, he gets beaten up the way he did against.
I don't think he deserves to be there. I disagree. I don't think he should be there. He's big.
Well, I mean, you guys, we gotta clarify. By today's standards, which have been lowered across the years, then yeah, he'll probably get in. But if we're talking about the way that the baseball league does it, from what I understand, it's been explained to me that the Baseball Hall of Fame, I don't know what it's called, but apparently they had high standards, meaning you have to have done something exceptional. You must have had an exceptional career that goes above and beyond what is normally required to be in there. So, but in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, you got Barry McGuigan in there, you got Ignemar Gotti, you got Ignemar Johansson. So when you have those guys, Ken Norton, yeah, I mean, those guys didn't go above and beyond what they were supposed to. So, and just one last thing that I wanted to mention about Spence. Jimmy was saying this off the air after one of the last shows. Errol Spence finally admitted that, his lifestyle is what ended up doing him in, or partially what ended up doing him. But it played a big factor. And it is interesting, like Chief was saying, he was right in front of people's eyes. People kept saying Chief and Jimmy were some of the guys that were saying, look at how he reacted to Danny Garcia's and Ugas's punches. That's not normal. And then the whole, want to go to Dubai video and all that. But people just didn't want to see it. And it's an interesting exercise in psychology, how you can put something in front of somebody and they'll choose to see it whichever way they want to. And some people just didn't want to admit that.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, they ignored it.
No, that's true. That's
hold on. Hold on. I was just going to say, BDA. Interesting you say that, because I really did not want to buy into the conspiracy theory that Errol Spence was drunk before the Crawford fight. That was just ludicrous to me. But based on how his eyeballs were looking during just when he was walking to the ring, I think actually maybe there is something to that. But just the mere fact that a professional fighter was able to let himself go like this professionally when he was on top, and so many fans didn't call it out. It just shows you just the kind of cognitive dissonance you're talking about.
No, everything BDA said was true. I kind of noticed something was wrong when he was getting ready to fight Porter. That's when I kind of knew, I could tell by the way he was talking, he be smoking and drinking. I could just tell. But no, that's true what he said. Well,
that was even before the accident.
Yeah, that was way before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was before.
By the way, just quickly, I want to read a super chat from Rapax Trucking Company. Thank you for your super chat. He says, Ugas pulled a Greg Louganis versus Errol Spence Jr. I checked who that is. That's
Shout out to Rapax.
an Olympic diver.
does he mean?
Greg Louganis. Yeah, what happened to Greg? That's not the guy that ended up doing a backflip and hit himself against the board, is he?
Oh,
Yes, it is.
probably. Yeah.
And let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
It just got announced the other day. Do you guys think it's possible Dubai can upset Usyk? Because they're saying they're going to fight on the 12th of July. Do y'all think that's possible? He can upset Usyk?
Yes.
The only way I
For
see
sure,
it,
he can definitely. Sorry, go. I'll go second. Go ahead.
just a quick thing. The only way I see it being an upset is if Age is catching up. He doesn't have the skill set to beat Usyk. He didn't have the skill set. He didn't have the IQ, and in most fights, he doesn't have the will. So,
Yeah.
I don't see anything other than age being the factor that would, because Usyk's pushing towards 40 with a buttload of amateur fights. It starts to catch up with you now. So again, as I said, it wouldn't take long. Age will be the factor if Dubois wins, not Dubois.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, barely.
I'll be honest. I think when they fight, they're saying it's official for what I'm reading. I'm gonna be honest. I think Usyk will beat him again. To be honest with you, Ucho, what you think?
About the Dubois fight?
Yeah, can he upset Usyk?
He can, but it's unlikely. I'm still waiting for Usyk to start looking old. You know what I mean? Like he's not. He's already. What,
He can
30?
definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, well, you're asking how old he is. He's 37 now. He's actually going to be 38 soon. It's ridiculous.
Right. So
I think Dubois definitely can do it, but I mean, first of all, actually no, he is 38. What am I talking about? He turned 38 in January.
wow.
Yeah, so Dubois can definitely upset him, and I get called out for this every time we talk about it. So I'm just going to say it here for the audience. It was a low blow. Usyk didn't fake anything, and aside from that low blow and maybe one half decent round, Dubois got his head boxed off and he quit. So technically, no, I mean none of these heavyweights can compete with Usyk technically, but it all comes down to age, and because he's again getting close to 40, and Dubois he's such a young guy and he's such a talented athlete. He's so heavy-handed. It is a very risky fight for Usyk. I've been saying, I'm not just saying this because I'm a New Zealander. Dubois doesn't deserve the fight. They should be giving it to Joseph Parker. But yeah, he's got a puncher. Dubois has a puncher's chance, which to quote Larry Merchant, puncher's chance basically means no chance, but it's a very good puncher's chance. So he can definitely win.
I think both guys.
Well, the question is,
yeah, go ahead.
if the question was, does Dubois have a chance? Obviously, yes. And at this point, like you guys are saying, Usyk is 38 now. By any other heavyweight, yeah, you could say, well, heavyweights can fight, can prolong their careers because they rely on punching power, not so much speed. That's the problem with Usyk. He's not relying on power. He's relying on speed, and reflexes, and stamina, and that's all going to regress with age, and it's regressing now. Also, if you watch the Dubois, okay, he's quit twice. His mentality is in question, but goddamn, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. 3-fight, okay, the Baby Miller fight, okay, maybe that was like a 50-50 or whatever, but I mean, it wasn't really an upset, right? But he came through and stopped the guy. Then the Hrgovic fight, he's not supposed to win that one. Most of us didn't give him a chance to win. I mean, not that we didn't give him a chance, but that we picked Hrgovic to win. He beats him. Then he goes up against Joshua, who at worst is the best, third best heavyweight in the world. You're thinking, maybe Dubois has a puncher's chance, but I don't think so. Not only does he knock him out, stop him, he throughout the fight, he was out jabbing him and out boxing him. So his confidence, say what you want about his mentality, right now it's got to be at the best it's ever been, his mentality. And if you watch that Usyk fight, I disagree about the low blow, by the way. I'm not going to get into it now, but you watch Dubois, he's throwing some flying bricks in there. And Usyk is making a miss, okay, but you can see they're whooshing by. One slight millisecond off, whether it's because Usyk makes a mistake or because he's getting older, that could be like, it could be over. And it's a big risk. And remember, that's the other thing. Dubois is younger and bigger. That's always going to be a risk against Usyk.
Last factor I want to throw in there that can actually make the thing go sideways is when young guys have all this stuff going their way, and then they finally land that big punch. And I'm saying this is an if, not when, because I don't know what Usyk can take. If he does that, and that happens, then the doubt starts to come in. Everybody else he hit, he hurt. If he hits Usyk, and he already knows Usyk cannot box him. So if he finally lands this really big punch and it only knocks him off balance, but doesn't buckle his knees, make him hurt, have to tie up, move for his life to clear his head. If none of that happens, I don't have a lot of faith that he's going to say, all right, well, maybe next time. It's going to be like, oh, crap, I don't have a plan B because I already know this guy can outbox me and I can't hurt him.
Yes,
True.
That is very true. And also, I mean, BDA maybe if you ever debate the low blow, I'd happily come on and discuss it. I mean, I'm going to do videos breaking this down because if this rematch does happen, but Dubois, and it's going to be, people are going to take this as me taking away from Daniel Dubois, and I'm not. I'm just these are just facts. One of the reasons he's so successful is because of his power. He is one of those front runner fighters where if he falls behind, he's going to give up. I mean, he's done it twice already, and against Hrgovic, he did hold it together very well, but that fight was stopped due to cuts. It's not because Dubois knocked Hrgovic down. And against Joshua, who just came in fighting like an amateur, he was winning that fight from the first round. So he never really had to fight from behind. Like, he's not, when it comes to mental toughness, he is behind Joseph Parker is mentally tougher than him. So there's going to be, and he's already quit several times, once against Usyk. So if he doesn't land the big punch against Usyk, then that's why I say he's basically got a puncher's chance. And there's always that opportunity. But I mean, Usyk, even though he's old, he's no more vulnerable in my opinion than he was in the first fight, because I mean, if anything, Tyson Fury was a much bigger threat to Usyk, not just because of size, but because of his just natural boxing talent. And Usyk just cleaned him, and he cleaned him in the first fight. Second fight was a little bit more competitive, but he still pretty much handily beat him. So it's one of those weird situations where, again, Dubois doesn't deserve the fight, but you know, because of age, he's got a good puncher's chance.
Wait a minute, how does he not deserve the fight when he's on a 3-fight winning streak?
Because he punked. Okay, I'm not saying that he faked the illness against with Joseph Parker, but the way he's acted since then. Sorry, I mean, look, people are going to say I'm biased because I'm from New Zealand, but he doesn't deserve it. Because
you keep bringing it up, though. no one else bringing it up.
Well, because. No, I'm from New Zealand.
I mean, no, I'm joking.
But okay, I bring it up because people say, oh, well, Parker hasn't fought it. Parker deserves it because these top guys won't fight him. I'm not saying they're ducking him, but Dubois is getting all the fights that Parker's called for, and then they're supposed to fight, and Dubois pulls out with very weird circumstances. He doesn't deserve it, in my opinion, because all he's done is sit out and. Since that fight with Joshua, whereas Parker's called out all the big names, and they won't fight him. So, and plus Parker got mandated to fight Usyk, and now they're filing an exemption. So we'll see if they get it. But that's why I feel he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. If you go by the rules of the sanctioning bodies and all that, but that's a difference between us. Is I don't follow their rules. These guys, as we've been seeing with the Bivol issue, they come up with they change the rules whenever they want. So. Dubois by virtue, right? And Dubois by virtue of his recent accomplishments, I do think I'd rather see that fight against Usyk than Joseph Parker, he's quick for a heavyweight, but I don't. Do you really see him beating Alexander Usyk?
I mean, who do you see beating Alexander Usyk?
No, I would pick.
That's the thing.
As a New Zealander, I would pick Usyk to win, but Parker's earned it. I mean, again, just for some people. I mean, I've done videos on this, but I'll just say it here for the audience. Parker called out Dubois and Joshua before they fought each other. Then he called out Martin Bacoli, and Bacoli got booked against Jared Anderson. Then he called out the winner for the fight, and it took him forever to get Dubois in the ring. Then Dubois pulls out, again, very unusual circumstances, and now he's calling out Alexander Usyk. So people can't ask Parker to do anything more than he's done. And it's not just because of the sanctioning bodies. Like these sanctioning bodies, like you said, BDA, they change their rules all the time. But I just have a real big problem with when a guy is calling out all the big names, he can't get them to fight him. It's like, what else? What more does he want to do? And plus, Dubois already had the fight and he quit. So,
but just to clarify, so you're saying he deserves the fight because he's calling people out?
And he's fought top guys. Like he fought Wilder. He ruined the Joshua Wilder fight. He fought Jilly Zhang. Jilly Zhang could have had the rematch and he didn't take it. So,
all right. So here are the 3 guys I want to see. And somebody mentioned in the chat the 3 guys I want Usyk to fight: Dubois, Parker, or Caballero. What do you guys think about those 3 names?
I think Parker personally. Caballero is very interesting. I don't think that's going to happen because Caballero's just he's a top contender, but he doesn't have a huge following because he's the new guy on the block. I think Caballero will be first for the belts when Usyk retires. So, yeah.
Caballero. I think Caballero.
Yeah, Caballero, man. I mean, he's taken out 3 guys that he wasn't. So kind of like Dubois, Makhmudov, Sanchez, and now Zhang. And think about it. Zhang, okay, Joseph Parker beat him, but that was, I hate to take away credit from Parker, but that had more to do with Zhang being a fat ass, winding, every time he took a step, he was winded out. So,
Sorry, BD, I disagree.
Okay, well, so you don't think him being 290 pounds had something to do with it?
Oh, I think it definitely.
Okay, well, now let me finish my point. Then hold on, just let me finish my point. So Caballero has beaten those 3. Look at the compare and contrast what Parker did against Zhang. Okay, he beat him, but just barely. Whereas Caballero took the heat, kept on coming, and stopped him. So at this point, Caballero has proven to be a very dangerous guy. Again, I'm not saying he beats Usyk, but goddamn, I'd forgotten about him, Buchu. When you brought up that list, yeah, Dubois, Parker, you got Caballero in the running. But that's the other point with Caballero is most people don't know who he is other than the boxing fans. And he doesn't even have a title, right? Which is what people love nowadays.
Intern belt or some shit like that.
All right.
Well, he's gone. Yeah, sorry for interrupting earlier, BDA. But it cut out, and I thought you had. It cut out on my end, and I thought you had finished. So my bad. But Caballero's WBC interim champion, and Parker's WBO interim champion. So
what does that even mean?
Those interim.
Come on.
Well, they're interim because the belts have been held up because of these undisputed fights, which is a good thing. But it is another. There's going to be problems. We know this is hardcores, but there's going to be problems with boxing every step of the way. One of the problems here is that at one point the top guy in the WBO was Jared Anderson, but they didn't book Anderson versus Parker. They got Anderson against Piccoli, and in the WBC, well, Caballero just won the interim title, but there's the WBC are lazy anyway, unless you're one of their favorites. So these guys, even though we've got a Turkey matching these guys up against each other, they're not. They really should just go. They should, if they have to do Usyk Dubois 2. I don't like it, but fine. They should just get Caballero and Parker to fight each other.
Well, that's it. See, that's the big.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Kind of switching up the topic. I never was sold on Jared Anderson. Who else feels the same?
I kind of like the guy, but I don't know. I never thought he was gonna be great. I just wanted to see more of this guy, basically.
But see, that's the thing. Okay, when you watch a prospect, you go, okay, they're gonna put him in there against no hopers, so there's only so much you can glean from them, right? But then, as they stepped up in competition, then that's when you start going, okay, I get a better grasp about his skills, his talent, and his wherewithal. His mentality. When he stepped up against King Charles Martin, excuse me, how dare I?
Oh, yeah.
That's when I said, okay. That's when I said, okay, this dude. I mean, Jared Anderson, he's entertaining. Oh no, excuse me. He used to be entertaining because even against Bacoli, he was letting his hands go. I mean, he tried to fight like hell to keep Bacoli off of him, but that was because Bacoli was coming at him. When he fought that dude that was on the defensive on ESPN prior to the Bacoli fight, he just couldn't get to him, and it was a short guy. I understand if you're Jared Anderson and you're hesitant to go in there against a guy who's just looking to land that one shot of you coming in, but he's also a shorter guy who's fighting scared. He's terrified. You should be able to break him down, and that's when I started saying, oh, and then when he started crying with Roy Jones, remember that? He started saying, I don't want to be a boxer and I want to retire by the time I'm 27 or something like that. That's when I said, oh boy, red flag.
When I watched the fight, I was like, his skill level is not at the level that I would like. I understand you want to put him in there with somebody that can really test him, but just watching him fight, his skill level, footwork, his punch placement, it just wasn't at a level that I prefer, that I like. So I was kind of like cool on him. And then when he got beat by dude, I was like, yeah, I can see that. The Bacoli dude, he was a little bit more technical, but his skill level just wasn't high. It's not high enough for me. So I was never good on it.
Yeah, and I did a video on asking this very question, if he could come back from the Bacoli defeat, and there were, I mentioned in that video all of the red flags you guys have mentioned. Another one for me was after he got pinged around a couple of times by Charles Martin, who got off the couch to fight him on short notice. Then afterwards he was crying hysterically, and after the fight he said how much he didn't love boxing. Like, here's the thing, because we know this is hardcores, like Jared Anderson's not the only guy to do this. Anytime you hear a top professional athlete say, in this case a professional fighter say how much they don't want to be a fighter, it's like, I mean, personally I'm sick to death of it, to where I want to call up these fighters and say, look, if you don't like it, shut up and retire. Don't tell us how much you don't like to do it. So, and he was doing this as a prospect. So yeah, I never believed Anderson was going to beat Bacoli. I mean, styles make fights, but I mean, he got destroyed in that fight, and afterwards looking bad against Journeyman, like, it's just the guy's an athlete. He's not a fighter. So no, he was the last American hope, and it's people clown Wilder because of how his career panned out. Wilder actually made something of his career, but Anderson, he was just a prospect who went nowhere.
In the chat, FUTV is asking, well, he's not, actually he's saying Anderson can come back. Do you guys think that he can come back, or is it over? No?
No, Jared Anderson,
I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a chance. I'll have to see. I need to see his skill level get a little bit better. If he can do that, then the world is his. But if he stays the same, no.
I'm sorry. Yeah, FUTV, I just wanted to shout out him, like, if you could give me a link to your Discord chat. He's never coming back, because I mean, I was just talking about a second ago. He wanted to make it a bigger deal to us and the entire combat world. I don't like fighting. I don't want to be a fighter. I'm going to retire soon before I do anything big.
You said that already.
Yeah, he was saying that as a prospect before he even made any money. So why is he going to come back now that he's been embarrassed? He's never coming back.
Hey, by the way,
what y'all think about this?
Real quick. Shout out to Bentley Sports in the chat. He says, breaking news, Anti-Floyd. Anti-Floyd, that's what I think he's referring to, Floyd Schofield Sr. He's live on the Boxing Voice getting pressed, and he's now saying the figure was made up. He basically came up with 2.5 mil. What an idiot. So apparently now the guy's saying...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
What y'all think about, I think after this, speaking of Bivol, I think after this third fight with Bivol and Beterbiev, I think Beterbiev is going to retire. I think he's done after this. I don't see him 40 plus still fighting. So. I think he's done. I think he's done. I think this is it right here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he's always had
Probably
those
should. I mean,
I don't think
injuries.
he wins.
He's had a bunch of injuries. He's had a long career, amateur and professional. Even though the professional record doesn't reflect it, that's because of a lot of things that happened in the 2010s with management and all that, or promotional problems. But he's had a long career, and yeah, man. And then on top of that, he's being compensated handsomely by the Sheik for those Bivol fights. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if he calls it a day.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned it perfectly, BDA. He and Bivol have something in common. They both, neither of them could dethrone, or none of them got the chance to dethrone Andre Ward or Sergey Kovalev, and I think they would have beaten both of them. So they had to build themselves up, and it took years.
Whoa! They would have beat Andre Ward.
I think so.
Who would have beat? Who would have beat Andre Ward?
All of them.
Hold on. I'll come back to that. But they had to build themselves up, and it took forever for them to fight. And Beterbiev, he's done amazingly well for an older guy, and he gets to go down in the history books as an undisputed light heavyweight champion. And I don't think he wins the rematch with Bivol. I thought the first fight was a draw. I think the second fight was a pretty clear, close but clear win for Bivol. So yeah, I don't think he wants to carry on, and there's no reason for him to. But he could very well win the rematch, the trilogy, and if he does, then the world's not going to want him to retire. So we'll see. But yeah, sorry, man. I think, and I liked Andre Ward back in the day, but I think both Bivol and Beterbiev would have probably ruined him.
Based on what?
Because Andre Ward was never that fast. He was never. I mean, he did well against Kovalev, but Kovalev was a head-hunting guy who didn't set up his shots very well, and he was not very disciplined, whereas Bivol was just a machine, and Beterbiev hits way harder than Kovalev. So maybe Ward would have won, but I think now that I think about it, Andre Ward was at his best as a super midi. These guys is lightweight, so they probably would have never fought. He fought Kovalev at light heavyweight, but he was pretty much going to retire. That was his retirement fights. So now that I think about it, those fights probably would have never happened. So now that I look at it like that,
I mean,
remind me. So didn't Ward also have injuries? Wasn't that also the official?
Yeah, why did he retire?
Yeah, he said his body was breaking down.
He said that? Okay.
He said his body was breaking down.
I think he also had like 2 or 3 shoulder surgeries or something like that.
That's what happens with this half.
The slapping.
That's what happens with this.
slapping.
That's what happens with this half Afro-Anglo-Irish combination. They got those old school genes where they can go for a long time early, then their body just breaks down. I don't know. Maybe
I think
his father's
it was
Irish
the
heritage.
slapping, man. It was the slapping.
You think so?
Yep. The way he threw those punches.
Yeah, so that probably wouldn't even happen. But yeah, I think because they're saying, oh, why don't Benavidez fight Beterbiev? I don't think that's going to happen. I think Beterbiev is done. I think Benavidez is going to be he's going to be left to fight Bivol. He's significantly younger, but I think Beterbiev. I really believe this fight coming up in October. I really believe like a month after that fight, we're going to hear Beterbiev announce he's retired. I really believe that's going to happen. I am
praying every day that we get to see Benavidez Bivol next year. I think Benavidez beats Bivol. The only fight for him right now is Callum Smith, and hopefully we can get him against the winner next year of the trilogy.
I'm thinking they're probably gonna try to get the Surdo. That's a doable fight there with Golden Boy. But yeah, I mean, like heavyweight, man, it's slim pickings right now. And Beterbiev, if he retires, who you got? You got Bivol, you got Benavidez, you have what's his name, Callum Smith. What's the guy? I always confuse. Not a Coley. What's the name of the guy that Callum Smith just beat?
Oh no,
no, the guy that Callum Smith just. Boatsy, yeah, thank you. I always confuse Boatsy with a Coley. Yeah,
but also,
so, and that
also. I'm sorry, BDA.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Boatsy has proven that he's. I'm not good. He's far more promising than Jared Anderson ever was, but Boatsy, he doesn't seem to have the best fighting instincts because he's a very talented athlete, but but he just got out-hearted by Callum Smith. So he's a good fighter, but I don't think we're going to see him challenge for the belt. Guys like Yard and Lyndon Arthur are just they're just big specimens, but they're not very talented fighters. And yeah, I think there's really no one for the champions, unfortunately, aside from Smith and Beterbiev. Like Alberto Ramirez is undefeated, but he's fought no one. We don't know if David Morrell is going to make a name for himself. Hutchinson is there, despite he's just a British level fighter, and you've got Katayev from Russia, but I don't know much about him. So yeah, the division's super thin, which is why Benavidez is such an interesting challenge.
I got to be honest with GDA. Last time we had a disagreement, we was arguing, got kind of heated. But I got to be honest, fair is fair. I ain't no fake nigga, I'm gonna be real. That dude, you know who El General is, right? At 135.
In Spanish, you're saying El Generalo.
Yeah, that's his nickname, El General.
Who's
that? Vargas.
Oh, you're talking about Vargas, Fernando Vargas' son.
Oh,
I ain't gonna lie. I think BDA. I made BDA think I didn't know who he was. I knew he was going to do that negativity to it. But I'm gonna be honest. Fair is fair.
You're cutting off.
I watched some. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
I watched some fights. I'm gonna be honest. I watched some fights. He the truth. He next up at 135. He's in that the throne for 135. He young guy, young record, so he got a little ways to go. But I watched a couple of fights. I ain't gonna lie, he the truth. He next up. He's on that Abdullah Mason. He's up there with him. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're talking about the light.
chat. If you're talking about Vargas Jr., Brain the chat says he's at 140. Maybe you're talking about somebody.
No. Eman says, I don't know how to say it. I'm bad with foreign names. Eman says Vargas. They call his nickname is El General. He the one that did the interview saying he'll beat Keyshawn Davis when the time is right.
El Divino? No, El Divino. That's a feather.
His nickname. If you type in El General 135, it should come up.
Fight Sports Talker. You know who he's talking about? Or Severino too. Do you know who's El General?
Vargas.
I don't think
El General.
I think he's talking about Emiliano Vargas.
It's Emiliano Vargas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bad with
He's at 140.
Right,
I was trying to put it together. I think he's talking about Emiliano.
Yeah, he's fighting.
I
he's
think
good.
it's kind of hard to say, sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, right now, I guess he's at a prospect status where he's fighting guys. I mean, his last guy they put him in there was tough, but it's kind of I want to see him in there against a fringe contender now or a gatekeeper.
Based on the way he fight though, he's really good. I ain't gonna cap. He's really good.
I mean, he's exciting.
I can see him doing damage. I'm banking on him to do damage. I believe when they put him in there with some killers, I think he's going to fare well. I don't know if he's going to beat everybody, but I think he's going to fare well.
Well, speaking of lightweights, speaking of lightweights and junior featherweights and all that. Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, again, I don't know. He hasn't fought anybody yet. I mean, he's like, if you just go by the eye test, which is, he looked, I was telling Butcher that the other day. That he's got speed, he's got power, and I like how he transitions from offense to defense. But again, it's easy to do that way with guys that you can overwhelm. So we'll see what happens with him. But sticking to that point of prospects, what do you guys think? I want to hear some thoughts on the whole Schofield Sr. thing, where he just came out. Well, apparently now he's defending himself, saying, no, I wasn't about the 2.5. He said they got an offer to fight Abdullah Mason, and that he would only do it for 2.5, and now he's backtracking. What do you guys think about that potential fight? That whole... Yeah.
To be honest, Kid Austin is a good talent.
Be honest.
It's a good Kid Austin is a great young talent. I got no issue with him. I don't like his pops, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and chop it up about that. I'm gonna say out of it. I don't like his pops, so I don't really want to talk about
come on, you can't leave us in suspense and say I gotta be
come on, man. Come on.
What are we talking about?
No. I keep it real. I ain't gonna cap. I don't like his pops. I'm not gonna lie. I do not like him.
But why? You gotta tell us.
Who are we talking about?
Funny style nigga. Acts a lot. like that bullshit. Like that bullshit BDA just brought up. That I heard about that too. That he capped about that. The way he handled the Shakur Stevenson, I didn't like that. his son is a good young fighter. He should be fine, hopefully. But I don't like his pops, so y'all can go ahead and
All right.
dice that up.
You're just talking about Devin Haney.
No, Schofield and
It-
Abdullah Mason.
It's Schofield dad.
Schofield.
Yeah.
Schofield is such a. I'm glad I didn't do videos on Schofield sounding confident before the Shakur fight, because I would have looked like an idiot given how they've acted. I mean, the Schofields are complete schizos. It's weird. Like I don't know what to make of him. Like it's like yeah.
No, his son is cool. Right? His son is cool. I ain't got no problem with him. But his pops, like no, his pops individually, fuck him.
I mean,
but his son.
I mean,
Here's
the
the thing, you
rumors
never-
what I heard. is that kid is looking at some type of hostage situation because he doesn't have a driver's license. He doesn't own a phone.
He's like in a
He just had a kid, and like his dad doesn't really allow to like the girl living outside of the house, or like it's some type of ransom
Wouldn't be
situation
surprised.
out there, yo.
damn.
That's some Jonestown type of shit, man.
Yeah, he's always saying like, yo,
talking about Alex Jones.
No, I'm talking about Jim Jones, the cult in Guyana. That's that's insane, man. These father-son combos, something has to be done about it. And you know what, Severino? What you're saying sounds outlandish, but it makes sense every time I watch an interview with Floyd Schofield Jr., and like I was mentioning that earlier, he's on the webcam, and then you see his father talking in the background. Like he starts butting in, and then sometimes he'll run into the frame and overtake the conversation.
No,
That's a
but
control freak right there.
the thing is, it sounds funny and it sounds a little sarcastic, but it's not even. I'm not even lying. Like, I know people from like the body, his trainer, and sorry, and that's like the guys were telling me those things though. Like they come often to Jersey City to the WBG. That's the gym that Tyson used to train when he used to fight out of what's the name of it? Atlantic City.
What's the name of the gym? The LGBT what?
WBG.
Oh, okay. Which one is that photo? The photo you're putting on the screen.
Come on.
Is that full Schofield Jr.?
Yeah,
No. You switched it up.
I mean, it's probably some type of gym like that in Texas. You never know. It's a bad state.
Yeah.
You know what? His father probably thinks he's doing it for his son's benefit. Like, because we were talking about that earlier about these fighters that go on the bender and they destroy their careers with their rights.
Listen, I don't really think he does anything like what he does, on bad intentions or to be like, like to cause any type of damage. I think he's just like a goofy dude trying to like be a little bit overwhelming, but I don't really think he had like, malintention or anything like that. I think he just stupid and a little sassy.
I like how you were trying to defend him, and at the end you go, well, he's just a fucking moron. I mean, come on.
No, yeah. But the thing is, like everybody knows, like, in any community, like fathers like that, they got a little bit too overprotective to the point that they start saying stuff like that don't make sense because them pulling it out of their asses. Like, oh, they can use a phone until like, they're like 27. You're like, what? Like.
Well, what gets me is when his father goes on everywhere he goes on the internet. I'm telling you, my son, he's the best. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna tell you guys, my son is the best ever. You don't understand the things that pros are putting to my son. They put a flash drive into his big ass forehead and he just download the info.
Jeez,
Hey guys, what do you guys think? I was surprised that Schofield Sr. didn't come up with some David Icke, Bill Cooper BS about aliens trying to abduct his son.
Wait a minute. We don't allow anybody bad-mouthing Cooper on this show.
I think Schofield on his own.
Sorry, can I just wait? Sorry, BDA. Sorry, am I not allowed to criticize Bill Cooper?
No, you're not. He was an American hero. On this podcast, he's an American hero.
Hey, I'm not. I wasn't insulting Bill Cooper. He did a lot of good. I'm just.
No.
I was kidding.
Seriously, man. Jesus Christ.
I'm kidding around, man. I'm kidding around.
Yeah. My snipers is pointing at you. Don't worry.
We got agents. We got agents coming in your house right now. Fight Sports. Like even though you're part of New Zealand. That's part of the Five Eyes, right?
Yeah, man. How dare you?
Yeah. Well, I will say. I'll say. I'll just say this. Just as we're on this topic and very quick. I used to buy into that Alex Jones like conspiracy tard BS, and then when you realize a lot of these old media fools are just as brainless as the mainstream, it's all good. Like
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Fight Sport. This is recognized. I just can't jump on the BDA representative. Don't you ever talk about Bill Cooper in a bad light again. This is gonna be the last time I ever warn you about that. Bill Cooper.
Man, stop moving my snipers can have a clear shot.
Bill Cooper believed the most retarded JFK conspiracy. I'll just say, as well as.
That's going to be your second warning. That's your second warning.
Extra.
He said
JFK was killed because he was about to disclose that the U.S. government works with aliens.
All right, BDA, get him out of here. Get him out of here, BDA.
Butcher's in charge. Butcher's in charge today.
Get him out of here.
Butcher's in charge today. He's got to.
Don't worry, Matrix. My snipers are on it.
You're gonna see Fight Sports Talk in a New Zealand concentration camp. Oh no, because I keep confusing New Zealand with Australia. That Australians did that.
We had a feminist communist lover in power. So don't joke about that. We've got concentration camp. I'm about to be shipped off to a concentration camp, guys. This is not.
Can you approach your window real quick?
No, but yeah, we're talking about Schofield. So yeah, Schofield Sr. is very annoying, and he probably thinks that it's good. It's like, I'm gonna do the same thing Bill Haney did. I'm gonna be everywhere, but the thing is, Bill Haney.
I'm gonna do the same thing that Haney did. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
Oh, that's the thing. He does that. I think I did. He does that. That cadence he does. Oh,
he's like an extra sassy Oscar de la Hoya, yo. Like.
Oh yeah, worse than that. Worse. But I mean, listen. I understand he's trying to do well. He's trying to look out for his son rather, and but he just doesn't strike me. You know, Bill Haney's got a little bit of Machiavellianism to him. I don't see the same thing in Schofield Sr.
No, but the thing is, you know, on
just real quick, just real quick. Go ahead. Look at Bill Haney, how he puts people on the spot. He puts their back against the walls because he tries to control the conversation and the argument. Schofield doesn't do that. He starts getting out argued. He starts getting out slicked in the conversations, and then he starts going nuts. So he can control himself.
I was about to say that, like, when you see Bill Haney. Even all the buster or the bullshit he says, you understand behind all that shit. He just, you know, he just bullshitting. You know, he just talking. I mean, you understand. You kind of sort of like sense like he's behind that. He's a cool dude, but the other dude, he just sounds like a ratchet, sassy ass dude, man. Like, it's
I'm telling you, my son.
Bro, like when he talks, bro, you think he's talking from a beauty salon or something. Like, ¿qué te estoy diciendo? Like, bro, like, come on, like. El hijo mío, el diablo, like, bro, like.
When the Schofield, when Schofield Sr. was coming out with his crazy schizo conspiracy theories, like the first one that got me was that Shakur's team had placed hits on him and his son. I just wanted to say, look, I wanted to call into one of these shows if they had him on. I mean, I know they didn't, but I wanted to call in and say, look, none of this is true. Do you honestly think we're that stupid? And I realized that he would have just said, but it is true. It is.
Dude, I think they definitely, maybe his assumption was wrong, like of exactly what happened, but I think it was true that they did something to that kid. Because I made a video of it. I don't know if you saw the short. There was a lot of information. Shakur's an idiot, and he kept letting it slip that his whole team told him not to take that fight, and he signed off on it. So you can't just pull out of a deal like that. And you got to keep in mind, this guy wanted to make money. You know, he's coming off of hand surgery. He hadn't made a payday in a long time. He wanted to fight. He just didn't want to fight that guy.
You know what? Can I just tell you something, man? I tend to be a bit of an alarmist, and I tend to make mountains out of molehills sometimes. When I first heard that he was sick and I saw the picture of him lying in the hospital bed on fight week, I thought, oh boy, his father probably accidentally bled into his drink or something and he infected him. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
It doesn't move that quickly. It doesn't move that quickly.
His autoimmune, his immune system now is compromised or something, and his career is done. But then
he probably drunk his minoxidil thinking it was water.
Come on. See, I don't know the names of all these men. I don't know how you know the name.
No, that's like to grow hair and shit.
Oh,
not a drug.
Well, I don't know. Was that who?
I say he got that good hair, you know, his dad.
He's got the teeth, the caps. What do they call it?
Yeah, what the hell is it? He looks like the black
veneers.
Yeah,
the veneers.
The mask. I was thinking, like, who's he remind me of? You ever saw the movie The Mask?
Yeah.
He looks like that.
Jim Carrey.
You think he looks like the mask? Yeah, wait. Okay, so you're saying he looks like the mask with Jim Carrey with the mask?
He looks like what the mask would look like in 2028.
Yo, I kind of see it though. No, I kind of see it. If you put dreadlocks on the mask, bro, it's him.
Oh man, you know what? Now you're right. I can't unsee it.
Exactly. You were wondering,
bro,
like,
I can see it.
He looks familiar.
But Fu, so what do you think about
baby?
Fu? What do you think about Shakur Stevenson? What do you think? What do you think about Shakur Stevenson and the connection with Jay Prince? Are you saying there's something there?
Shakur? Oh yeah, dude. There's a reason why this guy jumped on that fucking Tank train immediately. I said it a bunch of times. Every single fucking time this guy gets asked who he should fight next. You remember he fought Padley, and then after he fights Padley, he's like, he tells the reporter, asks him, who do you think you should fight next? He's like, the obvious choice is Tank Davis. It's like, how do you? And I'm thinking, like, how do you jump from like number 12 straight up bum, and then you go to Tank Davis? Doesn't make sense. I think what's happening is that he's getting cashed out. His career is almost over. The guy's got brittle hands. He can't fight. He's gonna take it. Dude, they were terrified when he took that fight.
I mean,
when
also, I don't know if you guys know, but also like he's, you know, according to what I heard, like he's also been investing a lot of money into like his girls, rapping career or R&B career, whatever the case may be. Like, you know, they haven't get like man returns.
Wait. Now you guys are confusing me. You guys are confusing me. We're talking about Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah, Shakur. Yeah.
He's got an R&B career or what?
No, he's Garrett. But here's the thing, though. Like, his Garrett always been managed by James Prince, right? I think he's a guy who used to push him like rappers, because he used to be with a couple of those. Like, I don't really recognize the other guys, like NBA something, and that's like a guy who used to be like around, and then like I think there's a girl like they push, that Jay Prince pushed into Shakur just to, like, you know, be like that guy has like a bad girl who raps or whatever, you know, he has like the powerful couple in the media, but none of them have like built in. He just been wasting money, hands injuries, and, you know, being like in parties with rappers, because he also like being diving into the lifestyle. So see all of a sudden be like on
that. Who said that here on the panel? It was in an open line that the guy's he's trying to. I'm trying to find the correct word here. He's trying to be a little bit too urban, which he's not really. And he's hanging out with all these rappers.
Yeah, like you see, like everywhere he goes, he's like with big ass chains, you know, like iced out, with 4 watches, you know, none of them on time. Like,
I mean, Shakur grew up in Newark, and I'm not saying that all Newark is ghetto, but you know, it's not a big city. Well, I don't know where he grew up at exactly in Newark. Let's say if he grew up in a house, the projects are not that far. They're like right there. So
Newark was the hood. It was the hood, actually. It's been converted now, but back when he was a kid, it probably was the hood.
Yeah, it's a very scary area. Okay, it's like a little,
it's a crime area. The last time I went to Newark years ago, there was a dude nodding off right beside me.
Oh wow, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. A guy falling asleep on the bus. Wow.
No, he was right there by the bus station, basically keeled over. I'm like, okay.
Hey, don't
sarcasm.
And recognize goes, man. It's that, man. Newark is scary. It's scary for you. I mean, come on. It's for you know, people like me. I walk down there. I can have it on lock within 2 weeks.
Yeah. I come from tough areas, and that's a lot, very hood over there. I know.
Your words. Hey, but you know what though? Remember, Shakur Stevenson wasn't he also involved or in plays when there was a live drive-by shooting of a guy? Remember that? He was in a group of people, and there was a rapper that in his vicinity that got shot.
Yeah, I think that I forgot his name. It's like the Amigos or something like that.
And the people that are implicated, the people that are implicated in the shooting of that guy are Shakur's management.
Aha. Mm-hmm. The blood thickens.
I heard Boots shot a dude as well, but not with the gun.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I gotta give you credit, man. Your fucking edits. I don't know. Are you the ones that does the edits? You know, the short clips?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do all that stuff.
But I mean, man, if you could... Oh, fuck, maybe I
have like a team of editors?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's you or maybe... Me. Okay, there you go, man. The one you did, and then with Jerron Ennis, where he's laughing, aha! And with that little laugh that he does, aha! And then for some reason you show him punching, a photograph of him punching in his trunks. You know, he wears those Camacho trunks, you know, the skirt type of thing. Yeah, it's flowing up. You have to put that picture. I mean, come on.
What's when he's trying to punch, his whole fucking skirt flies up.
Yeah, I remember, you know what? You guys remember Chop Corley, right? He was a 140-pound contender.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I forgot. He used to wear those too, right?
He used to wear, but he was actually bisexual, openly bisexual. And I think he had a bit like an exhibitionist streak with him or something, because I remember there was a fight, and I didn't see the fight. It wasn't televised, but I read I think it was on Ring Magazine, that he wore those trunks. But you know how usually people wear those boxer shorts underneath? Not boxer trunks, but boxer shorts, you know, like underwear.
Like Spanx under there.
He was just wearing his cup. So every time he would punch and the skirt would go up, you would see his ass cheeks, and you know, there's just more than you would want to see other stuff. And I'm thinking, what? This dude was a sicko. I'm glad he's retired.
He wanted to show everyone he's available.
Ah, geez, Luis. I mean, he said, he also admitted, and I'm not making this up. Google it. He wasn't averse to trying on women's underwear.
Oh my God! Is this real?
Google it, man. Google it.
I'm gonna Google that.
And this I know Fight Sports is gonna say, "Oh, BDA is the Bill Cooper of the boxing world." I'm telling you, Google it. This was all out there back in the day.
There was a telecast.
Going back to that Shakur Kid Austin thing, I think there was definitely a lot of truth to that. I think they didn't want that guy to have that fight. Like I said, Shakur's going to lose any one of these fights. And look, that's not a lot of money in that Kid Austin fight, right? That was going to risk the Tank Davis fight. That's what they wanted. And they had a dude. I don't know if you saw a short. I put a short on my channel, like 2 of them. From Shakur's own mouth, he said everyone on his team told him not to take that fight, and he signed off on it anyway. You can't pull out of a deal like that, you know. That's it. So they had to do something to get him out of it.
BDA,
and that's not to say that Shakur couldn't beat him, but it was a big risk. It was really risky. And if he would have lost that, he ain't getting no Tank Davis fight.
Right. BDA, you said that I was going to call you like the Bill Cooper of YTBC. I was making a joke about Bill Cooper. He said a lot of truth.
I was busting your balls about it. But I also want to clarify something. I'm saying that's what I heard about DeMarcus Corley. I'm not saying that I'm saying it, that I know it for a fact, but that was a story circulating.
Corley had a fight. He had a fight on HBO, and I believe it was Jim Lampley that was saying that Corley says he has no problem wearing lingerie, especially women panties.
Right. There you go. So Rekenes can verify he heard the rumors too.
Well, there's somebody who, and this is not a conspiracy theory, but somebody who doesn't have a problem looking a little weird and walking around with purses is Tank Davis. Man from the streets. I don't know if there's anything. Maybe there's 1% of truth to what the Schofields were alleging, but again, and there are some people in the chat. Is another guy who we're cool, but he's been accusing me of some crazy stuff. He was talking about fights allegedly being, they're being influenced behind the scenes as to how fights pan out, etc. Of course, we know some of that does go on, but to say the entire sport is rigged to where the Schofields had the mafia on them, like, again, you're getting a little bit like Alex Jones there, like with those.
I think, dude, that's a lot of money, and it's a known fact that Jay Prince is mixed in with organized crime. It was the same
We
without
know
Heyman.
Jay Prince. Yeah, we all know Jay
a
Prince
lot
is
of
a gangster,
boxes.
but
Dude, you're talking.
All the boxers organized crime.
That's Jay Prince's investment. That's his investment there, and he's worth millions of dollars. So of course he might do something. If he feels that, look, if that dude lost, Jay Prince is going to lose millions of dollars if Shakur lost. And there was a big chance he's coming off of. Remember they did that fucking grip, and they say he got the grip of a fucking little girl. Like what do you think, Shakur? And look, that dude Schofield is like built to beat Shakur. He built to beat him. The way he jumped, his agility, the way he leaped.
Schofield is trash.
Okay, well, you said that's what you think. What I think is that guy is built to beat him. The way he kind of leaps in, he's going to catch him with shit. He's probably going to drop him and everything. And he don't have the firepower. He doesn't have the firepower to hurt that guy.
Hold on, can I just because the last time I remember this very well, I just wasn't on YouTube at the time when Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko and let's just say insulted a certain we had a certain country in the Middle East. There were tons of people saying that the mafia was pretty much on his case. Tyson Fury is such a pathological liar. He was coming out with conspiracy theories that weren't honestly quite as bad as what the Schofields came out with, but similar level of allegations, like nothing that we did is wrong. It's all down to the mob and the mafia against us because we're truth seekers, blah, blah, blah. Like there may be a small element of that certain powerful people don't want you to succeed, but to say that the entire mob is on this guy's case, was on Fury's case and the Schofields, and that everything was rigged against them, that's a little sorry, I need to see.
Yo, that's far-fetched like a motherfucker. This dude was all the way overseas. Like,
that's
Jay Prince got hitters all over the world. Like that guy, come on.
Like, I know I keep bringing his name up, but that's like Alex Jones level sensationalism.
You've been
I don't think it's that far-fetched. I don't think it's that crazy.
Nah, Jay Prince ain't like the biggest fucking mobster in the U.S. or even fucking over there. Like that dude, yeah, I've heard about his reputation, but like it ain't nah.
Well, what I think is really weird is that now that
like come on, like for
right now they're talking about this guy fighting what's his name, Floyd. That's his name, Floyd, right? Am I wrong? No, the other guy, the one who just fought.
Schofield. Yeah.
No, Schofield's fighting this other guy. Another Jay Prince.
Abdullah Mason.
Yeah, Abdullah Mason. I'm like, bro, why are you doing business with Jay Prince? They're talking about him fighting Abdullah Mason.
Not just like a manager.
Exactly.
Right, he's just a manager.
Maybe that's what they did. They fucked him over, and they're like, bro, we'll feed you this guy. But I mean, what I feel like is he's going to get fucked over in that fight again.
Well, I mean, listen, just to recap here, because the discussion is, well, is Jay Prince doing something behind the scenes to gain advantages for his fighters, or something that could be construed as illegal or intimidation?
Well, he should have did that for Jared Anderson. Shit, if he doing all that, I feel like he would have had more invested in Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson got his ass beat. Like, come on.
I mean, here's the thing. Look,
that was a cherry pick gone wrong, I think.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Look, listen, if you're gonna accuse a guy of that, and boxing, there's a lot of money involved. I wouldn't be surprised if there are certain dirty tricks that go on there. I mean, they've been going on for a long since boxing was since its inception. So yeah, Jimmy once said that the way they do it is, if they want a guy, the DA side, to get an early stoppage, some representative will go to the referee and say, listen, man, we just want to remind you that we want a good, clean fight, and we don't want anybody getting hurt. So, take no chances, blah, blah, blah. So they're indirectly telling him the message. So does that type of shit go on? Yeah. But you need to provide some evidence. I need to see some evidence before I can definitively say, something weird was going on here.
You saw Kickboxer too. Tombo's got
yeah, I also saw the Peonies, where you got these Nazis grabbing an old man by the wheelchair and throwing him off a balcony. I mean, that's just because I saw it in the movie.
When it comes to like, when it comes to corruption in boxing, like I'm not in their circle, so I can't prove it. But I'm not stupid at the same time. If somebody wants to believe that there is none of that going on, they need evidence. I mean, that's on you, bro. I mean, I don't care about that. When it comes smacking you in your face one day, then you'll believe it. But like, I know it exists. It does happen. There are people like James Prince. Let's say if Jay Prince wasn't even that guy, there's somebody like him in that business. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't believe that, I mean, who's the dumbass, me or you?
Well,
No,
recognize.
no,
I mean,
I'm
when
not-
I said, well, hold on. When I said the evidence, I mean, I do believe that happens because I have seen evidence of it happening. But what I'm saying is, just because somebody comes up to them and says, "Hey, this dude
Right.
is
Of course.
this fight is fixed," I go,
Absolutely.
"Okay, well,
Yeah.
what's your evidence?" You can't just say, "Well, to me it looked, fake." Okay, well, why exactly? You know what I mean? So,
Like when somebody, okay,
Man,
when
there's
that
always
whole
been like
Schofield thing
mobsters and
happened,
gangsters
that
and
whole-
powerful
Can I
people.
respond to that?
Hold on,
Because-
one at a
Can
time,
I
one at a
respond to that? Because
Let
I'm
me finish my point. When that whole thing happened with the Schofield thing, I think the father was over exaggerating. But do I put anything past Jay Prince? The answer is no.
mhm.
No.
So Jay
Don't-
Prince got more power than Turkey out of sheep.
Hold on. Can I respond to that? Because I'm not discounting again that there's, of course, we know the sport is corrupt as hell. We know this world is corrupt as hell. I'm
Right.
just to go to the extent that he did is just kook. It's kook stuff. I mean, and he
If
backtracked
somebody
the
said
next.
something matter of fact,
Hold
if
on.
some- okay,
No,
somebody
hold
came
on.
to me
I
and be
barely
like,
responded. I barely responded. Here's the
Go
thing:
ahead.
like people were saying that he was right to speak out, like because Jay Prince is a monster. Jay Prince we all know is a gangster and not a very nice guy. But to go. The Schofields were speaking out with the craziest of conspiracy theories. Then they said immediately that they were going to expose the truth and blah, blah, blah. Then they backtracked less than a day later. And that reason,
Well, I mean, when people are
saying,
intimidating you, you know?
Hold on. The reason the Schofield fans justified him backtracking because they said, oh, he was about to get hit. He had hitters on his case, like the mob was going to kill him and blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, why did he speak out in the first place if his life was really in danger? So none of what the Schofield said made sense. So that's why I don't deny that gangsters are going to do horrible things to people. I don't deny.
And he did that overseas where the gangsters are supposedly at.
Exactly.
Bro, Jay Prince is like he might have been a tough dude. He might have did some street shit back in the past, but that dude's just a manager. That dude managed for Floyd for a while. He just wanted his money. Like I don't think he up here fucking. I don't think he got the power to even fix fights. He's not even a promoter for real. Like
I mean,
that guy's not more powerful.
I mean,
than Turkey out of sheep.
you don't need a lot of money to
One at a
intimidate
time,
people.
one at a time, one at a time,
Any of
one at a
that
time.
shit.
You don't need a lot of money to intimidate people. You don't.
Yeah, fixing a fight.
And I know dude on the street, dude, that's not that guy's shit in the bank. I know dudes on the street who got nothing in the bank that can intimidate people.
Let me say this real quick. Fixing a fight is not that hard. All you need is the judges. Okay, that's it. You need a judge to score. You need one, maybe just one judge to score a fight your way, and that's it. And you got the fight. So but this fantasy world that was back in the days when
Who the fuck thought fucking Kid Austin was gonna outpoint Shakur?
Bro, I don't care about your fucking opinion. I'm telling you,
Dude, like use your common sense. Who the fuck thought Kid Austin was gonna outpoint Shakur?
it doesn't matter. You see, you don't
Austin was
you
gonna
don't-
drop Shakur, dude. He was gonna finish
You don't
his ass.
understand how things work. You don't understand how things work. If somebody says, I want this fight guaranteed, that doesn't mean that the boy that they got their money invested in can't beat them. They just want it guaranteed. You see, that's the difference between somebody like you and somebody who knows.
Okay, so why didn't you do that for
Doesn't
why didn't he do
bro,
that
how
for,
do you know he doesn't do that? How do you know he doesn't do that?
because his fighters be getting their ass whooped all the time and lose.
You like Shakur a little too much. Shakur's trash.
Get their ass with that's going to happen. Okay, that doesn't mean he's trying to fix every single damn fight. But for you to say
exactly,
why is he not trying to do it for? How do you know he's not trying to do it? Are you there? No, so you wouldn't know that.
How the fuck do you know he is doing that? Like you
I'm
just
not
making a whole
saying
bunch
he
of
is.
assumptions.
What I'm saying is,
No.
I don't put it
Look.
past him. I said, if I found out later on down the road that he was a part of something nefarious with a fighter and intimidation, I said it wouldn't shock me. But
Okay,
apparently it'll shock
recognize.
you.
I mean, your
But apparently it'll
your
shock
name.
you.
No. Recognize.
It would shock
your
me
name
if
is
he had. It would shock me if he was overseas and had goons overseas to intimidate fucking the Schofields, fucking thousands of miles away from America. Yeah, that would shock me.
No, recognize. Your name is recognized. The Matrix. What you're saying again makes sense. We all know that there's shady stuff in boxing, but here's the thing: if the powers that be, if gangsters like like Al Heyman and Turkey and Jay Prince had their hands in every single fight and everything went exactly the way they wanted. They could manipulate it any way they want. There would never be any upsets. So again, you're falling into this Alex Jones conspiracy where you think that the powers might be control everything at every time.
Well, that's not what he's saying, though.
Because they got way more power.
Hold on, but hold on, just real quick. I know Recognize is probably going to say this, right? That's not what Recognize is saying, that they control everything.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is...
No, I'm just...
Okay, so for instance, fight sport, right? Just like when people come up with everything is a fix, I say, you got to come up with evidence, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to come up with evidence. If you're going to say
there's examples of it. There's examples of that in boxing.
Julio, let me finish my point.
Hold on, let him go.
I'm saying anybody in general, that if they say that everything they see is a fixed fight or there's a conspiracy, I would just say, look, man, if you could provide an example, maybe I'll believe that. But the opposite applies too. So when I hear people, why would he do this for that fighter? He don't got no pull over here. How do you know what he has? How do you know,
bro?
Are you part of the circle? Are you part of the?
You and I are. We're actually in a lot of agreement here. I agree. People shouldn't write everything off as conspiracies, but they also shouldn't gloss over things and say, "Oh, there's no such thing as." Like I play this clip on my channel a lot as a joke. You don't believe in any conspiracy theories? It was some comedian saying that. Like there's conspiracies that are true, but I just feel that when somebody goes to the extreme that Tyson Fury did or the Schofields did, that's a red flag to where okay, you've gone way off the deep end. That's what I think.
You're telling me you don't believe in the lizard people? They got you. They're already in you.
Listen. When it comes to this whole conspiracy thing, I mean, we know that the term conspiracy theory has been maligned. It's a pejorative term now, but it's conspiracies do happen. People in power.
Exactly.
How do you think people in power pursue their machinations? They just don't do it on a whim. They get together and they decide things. And that goes for. And when I say conspiracy, conspire, I'm not talking about some nefarious thing. It could be just a plan to sell Coca-Cola or to sell a new product. Exactly. That's a conspiracy. So we gotta start clearing up that name. And yes, there are conspiracy theories out there, meaning people that see everything as a conspiracy when there's really none. However, the opposite also applies on the other side of the spectrum. There are people who are coincidence theorists. Everything's just a coincidence. Oh, it's just a coincidence, bro. Exactly. Don't worry about it, bro. So I think that's just something to keep in mind as we go along.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to head off, but you just said it perfectly, BDO. There's coincidence theorists who leave the mainstream, and then there's you say that you put things perfectly as always, BDO. You're the model YouTuber.
Don't go too far now. Don't go too far.
Yeah, but there's conspiracy theorists who think everything is a conspiracy, but then there's coincidence theorists who thinks everything just runs perfectly and there's no conspiracies.
There you go.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Oh, absolutely not.
You don't want to do it either.
No. You want it. There are conspiracies. They're a real thing. They're not shooting down conspiracy theory because it requires thought. They want people to just go with the official story all the time, and that's not how the world works.
Exactly. Exactly.
Who I hit you up privately. If you could just message me your Discord group, because I'd love to call up.
Yeah, I was going to send it to you the other day. The Discord just wasn't working. I don't know.
Wait, hold on. How come I've never received any? I've known you, Food TV. I've known you for a while now, and never know.
Wait, say it again.
He doesn't like you, BDA.
Yeah, what's up with the no invite thing?
Oh wait, I got you. I thought you were on my Discord.
What are you talking about? I'm looking at the Discord right now as I'm talking to you. I'm not on Food TV's Discord.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah, you know what? Just tell me the truth.
I barely use this crap. The other day I was doing some shows. I had the audio too damn low.
Julio,
you don't ask, man.
Be honest. Just say, look, I don't like you, BDA.
Exactly. Just say, listen, I don't want you're an undesirable. Don't want you on the panel. I mean, on the.
You never asked for it, so I'll send it. I'll give it to you. I'll send it to you.
BDA, look, I'll give you an example. Hey, BDA, I'm indifferent with you. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's some things you said.
All right,
I didn't insult anybody.
Guys, we gotta end the show. I gotta go, but thank you for being on the show. We'll see you next time. All right, take care.
All right, brother.
All right, everybody on YouTube, thank you for being on this show. Quick 2 hours and 20 minutes. We should do this more often. You know, like I call it limited open panel, old school BDA style. Guys, thank you for being on the show. We'll see you next time. Take care.